I think, okay, we're good. Oh, hey guys, I'm here. Don't worry, I'm here. I know I'm a little late. Okay, so everything good. Twitch is going.
Guys?
Yep, turn that down. Okay, don't want to hear myself. Who wants to hear me? What's going on, guys? Hey, I'm alive. I'm here. Saturday night vodka stream. Watch out. Oh, what's going on? Hey, Clay, Marcus, Niner, George. What's up? What's up, Adam? Primitive. Hello, Will. Davy Jones. What's going on, Stallone fan? What do you got? You got Judge Dredd going now this time, huh? I am the law. Law. What's going on, Scully? Whoa. Yo, it's Infinity. It's loving. What's going on, Fahama? It's Master Goatee. Master. What's going on, Evan? Yo, Gabriel. Royal. That's I know, I get it. Sorry. I mean, like I said, that's why I have this Sunday morning, right? What's going on, Jose? It is Saturday, yeah, for sure. What's going on, YouTuber? Yeah, hopefully it's gonna be a big one. What's going on, Jedi? Milfy? Saturday, I know. And pretty much next week it's also going to be on Saturday as well because of the whole the Infinite Crisis or Infinite Streams. Sorry, I always say that wrong. But yeah. Can we take a second and talk about Mila Jovovich? That's random. But cheers, guys. Yes, didn't have a vodka stream last night, but as you can see, I got the glass half fucking full. That's right. It is half fucking full. So let's rock and roll. Should be a fun one. Dave, you gotta win us over tonight after abandoning us. I know, right? It's funny too because when I was hanging out with my friends, I actually went to Palm Springs yesterday because my friend Molly, her and her husband bought a house over in that area. I think it's more Palm Desert or not Palm Desert. It's more Desert Hot Springs. I don't know. It's the desert over there, and so I went over there just to see their new house, and we were just going to chill. And we just, went to Palm Springs, ate at a restaurant, had to eat outside on the curb, literally like on the curb. Our table was on the curb, on the sidewalk. It was crazy. And then, so I mean, I did a lot of drinking. So I was thinking about you guys, and it was funny too because all my friends knew about my vodka stream and everything like that, and they were joking with me, saying, "Are your followers going to be okay? Are they going to be fine? Are they just going to be drinking without you?" So don't worry, I'll try to make it up to you guys, okay? Speaking of Palm Springs, did anybody watch I haven't watched that yet. I want to watch it because I like Andy Samberg. And I forgot who the girl is. No, it's the girl in the movie. It's totally can't think of her name right now, but I'm sure you guys will. But I definitely got to see it. My friends. Okay, I know you guys keep on saying like, you're going on a date. No, it was friends. There was a group of us. Amanda was there. I mean, you guys know Amanda. She was there. So she was there and like, I don't know, 5 other people, something like that. And then we ended up going to this casino over there just real quick. And I won $75 in blackjack. That's right. Very odd to go into a casino with a mask. Of course, you have to wear the mask. But, it's kind of hard to, it's weird. It's so weird because, yeah, everybody's wearing a mask. I had my mask. But then, of course, you have an alcoholic drink. So, you're drinking, so you have to do that whole thing. And some people, of course, they have it hanging off their face. I mean, even one of the bartenders didn't have the nose covered. I'm like, nobody really takes this shit seriously, do they? You really don't. Yes, actually, Eric, this morning I had a screwdriver. That was my hangover drink. That's right. My friend's husband, whose also name is Dave, when I woke up, I got a cup of coffee. And then he goes, "Hey man, you want a screwdriver?" And I was like, "Okay." And I mean, you know what? The best cure for a hangover is just to have more booze because it's just your body that's feeling like, just withdrawals. So having that actually really helped. Between that and the coffee, I was good. It was really good. So yeah, you ordered some cool Midside. Oh, did you? That's cool. I'm gonna say it. Oh, it was an orgy? Yeah, it was an orgy. Yeah. You caught me. Hair of the dog, motherfuckers. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was. We had a good time. Like I said, $75. I was actually up like 120, and then I lost like 3 hands in a row, and I went, okay, time to walk away. You know, that's kind of the system. I don't gamble that much, and I don't when I do, I tend to play blackjack or poker. So anytime that I'm playing blackjack and the table gets a little cold, I'm just like, now, time to get out of here. You know, as soon as I get 3 in a row of losing, yeah, it's time to bounce. So we weren't there for that long. So hopefully I didn't get the vid. So should be all right. Hopefully not. It should be good. I mean, like I said, it's just everything's all good. Whose side am I on for Godzilla vs. Kong? I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the gorilla. I'm gonna go with the gorilla, I think. I'm gonna go with the gorilla. You have my attention now, Slow. What about my wife? What are you guys talking about? Let them fight. Yeah, did you guys see that image? You guys see that image of I just posted the video about it. But the image of Kong, of Godzilla vs. Kong. It's pretty good. Kong has gotten huge. I mean, look at this big boy over here. Look at this big boy over here. That's going to be very interesting. And they're fighting on an aircraft carrier. That's what I love about that. It's so freaking awesome. So awesome. I'm waiting for footage. Let's get some footage already, please. So, yeah. Got to go with the underdog. Yeah, exactly. Got to go with the underdog. Just like with Batman vs. Superman. Batman was the underdog. And look what happened. Look what happened. Okay? See that? That's what happened. That's what happened, bitches. Yeah, if you want to get one of these shirts too, by the way, they're in the Film Junkee closet down below. Some people always ask, like, where'd you get that shirt? Yeah, exactly. Now that's a dad bod. Now, if you guys didn't see it earlier, I guess there was like, what was it? The New York Post, or I don't know. Some website was comparing like what Zac Efron looked like in Baywatch compared to what he looked like now in like a new Netflix movie. Now he's like, a little thicker, more hair on his chest and stomach, and a beard. And it was considered dad bod transformation. It's like he still had fucking 8-pack abs and still had definition and everything, and they were considered that a dad bod. And I'm like, are they just going by the beard and the hair, like on his chest and stomach? Is that what they're doing? You're right. I should have a Vodka Stream t-shirt. I'll think about something like that. Yeah. I should have that. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking A. Baywatch was horrible. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Even though he's not a dad, he does have a dad bod. Because he's like a really good looking dude. All the ladies swoon over him. But you see him without a shirt on, he's got definition. But I mean, I think the definition of a dad bod, you have to have some love handleness. You can't just have like they can't just go into a V. Yeah, remember when they spotted Jason Momoa out in the wild, and he had his shirt off. He was at the beach or something like that. And, he probably hadn't been working out because he was on vacation. So his muscle definition, he's not on a strict diet, probably eating whatever. So he wasn't as ripped as he usually is, like he was for Aquaman. And they were like, he's got a dad bod. It's like, what the fuck? That's a dad bod? No. Zac Efron for Kyle Rayner? That's not bad. I think he should. He looks like a fucking superhero. So, God damn it, make him a superhero. And that'd be pretty good. What were we saying off topic? I see you like wristwatches. What wristwatch you got on today? Today I got my Sterling. Got my Sterling on today. I got this one probably about a month and a half ago. Yeah, it's my Sterling diver watch. This is the watch I wear. Like if I'm like in the pool or something like that, I'll have this one on. This is my sporty watch with the rubber wrist band and everything. So yeah. Zac Efron for Jason Todd. Yeah, it's not a bad choice. I mean, it's not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. Oh, yeah. By the way, guys, look at this. Oh, that's right. Got a new flash pop. Pretty awesome stuff. But it sucks because now the mall is closed. I can't go to that comic book shop. This has got the crazy legs. The crazy, like, transparent see-through legs. This is obviously from Justice League, so Awesome stuff. I like the back. Look at all that. Look at all that. So it's got the new Funko Pop. He deserves to be up here on the desk. He's up here with my Tyler Durden. And of course, the Joker, which we're going to see more of, probably. We are. Come on. If anybody is taking what's going to happen on Monday when we talk about, the Ayer cut and the campaign for the big push, come on. Come on. You're a sexy beast. You have a grandpa bod. I know. If Zac Efron has a dad bod, then we must have grandpa bods. I mean, seriously. Hey, Dave, do you think TCN got an unfair amount of hate the other day? I mean, to me, you guys saw my video about it, right? I posted my video about my thoughts about the whole leaking of the storyboard. You guys got my 2 cents. The reason why I was upset about it was because, like I said, I've seen that image. I saw it a long time ago, and I was told, "Man, this doesn't leave. This doesn't go out there. This does not leak or anything like that." So yeah, that's why I was upset about it, because I was like, no, that's just not supposed to be out there, because I don't think the man himself wants it out there. I don't think the men themselves, the guy who drew it, and then of course the guy whose movie it's based on. That's what I was kind of just like, So I was just a little upset with that. That's why I was upset. It's part of the game. You're going to start, if you're going to do this stuff, and people are going to, I didn't think it was a spoiler. I don't know how many times I tell people like, hey, it's not a spoiler. It's stuff we already know. No big deal. I just think, yeah, like you said, Joey, it should have just stayed private. To me, like I said, always instructed, like, yeah, this doesn't leave, but this is something cool. There's also, there's other things too that have been shared that it's just like, okay, don't put it out there. Eventually they'll probably get out there. That's what I think. I think Snyder will eventually put a lot of the stuff out there. That's what he's been doing for the last 2 years, putting the stuff out there himself. When it came to the Dark Side storyboard, I think that was just like that was like the first thing, when it wasn't the first storyboard that he put out there, but it was the first time we saw that Darkseid was part of the Justice League. So I think, I don't know, maybe he just didn't like he was worried that because of NDAs and whatever the fuck, that he didn't want to put it out there himself. So he's testing the waters. And that's why he was like, hey, get this out there. And we got it out there, and it was perfectly fine. And, but we did our due diligence. We made sure like everything was okay. We had our bases covered. We had our bases freaking covered. Sup, Fatal J? Well, look at that. Wonder Meg's here too. See, I was just letting everybody know that I got a new Flash. You jealous? Huh, Meg? You jealous? That's right. Look at that. He's moving really, really fast. It's okay. You can be jealous. And then, of course, release the Snyder Punch. Yes, which we'll be talking more about. Get Justin in here in just a little bit. And then, of course, naturally, we'll get all the other guys in there, too. I know Midside doesn't drink. Correct me. No, he doesn't drink. But the goal should be to top last week's. Yeah. We'll see what happens when the panel gets in here, because, those guys are showing up. But, yeah, Justin doesn't drink, which is fine. I don't care. He'll probably be drinking water, if anything. But, But anyways, yeah, so when it comes to that storyboard, that was just my 2 cents on it. And and there's a lot of things that have gone, that I was getting upset about and everything. And I just watched that video. That's everything. It's a pineapple Funko. Shut up. No, just watch that video. I got out everything that I was wanting to get out about that whole thing. Like I said, I never had an issue with Culture Nerd or even like Lightcast, Matt from Lightcast. Never had an issue with any of those guys. It was just like this time, that's where it just hit that nerve, because I knew that wasn't supposed to get leaked out. That's all. But now it's just no big deal. It's out there, but it's just trying to figure out like, what the heck, how did that get into there? And then, the thing I get tired of is like, the preface of, we're not doing this for clout. We're not doing this for clicks. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. I just get tired of hearing that same old song and dance, because it's like, well, no, your clout, I guess your clout is more of the, hey, we don't do this for clout. That's their clout. They want to be known for that, for not doing it for clout, and that's why you got to preface like every show, everything. It's just who cares? We all, when we do this, we want a little bit of clout. We want our clout to be directed at, hey, I want people to show up for the live streams and have fun and hear the discussions and the opinions and the back and forth. That's what I want. You know, I want people to show up to my channel to listen to my opinion on whatever news is out there and everything. That's what I'm all about. Hashtag I do this for the pineapple. No. Whoop. You like the shirt? You can get it down below in the Film Junkie closet. There it is, Metalhead. I think it was one of the first shirts I made. One of the first shirts that I made. So, but yeah. So yeah, that was just my whole thing about it. That was just my whole thing, you know. Yeah, for reverse psychology class. Yeah, it's just like stop it. Just you don't need to preface every little thing. I just like when and I enjoy. I've enjoyed Lightcast streams. You know, I've listened to a few of them, and I and the culture nerd. I mean, do whatever, but you're gonna get a pushback. You're gonna get a pushback. If you're gonna be in the scooping game, you're gonna get a pushback. Just 100%. That's what it is. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, be prepared for it. You're gonna get the hate. You're gonna get everything. I mean, like I said, I wasn't on the outrage of spoiler side of the whole thing. I was just, I just knew that storyboard was not supposed to be out there. That's all. That was my whole thing. But we'll probably talk about it with everybody else. Get everybody else's 2 cents on the whole thing. But I think it's about time to get the guest in here. Because he's got a little bit of something. He's got something to talk about, Mr. Justin. He's got something he wants to talk about and share with you guys, something that you guys will probably be interested in. We got Fatal J, of course, in the live chat, which is always a good time. Yeah, we got to talk soon. I mean, maybe he'll show up in a little bit. Who knows? That's if he's down. What, Marcus? What are you talking about? I don't know. You might be onto something there, bud. Okay, Hidden Shadows. It's okay. When it comes to when it comes to some of those guys, we'll all be in unity again. It's just right now, tension is a little high. Yes, we need a collab soon, Mr. Fatal J. Like I said, I mean, when it comes to the infinite streams, man. When it comes to infinite streams, maybe I'll, if y'all have me, maybe I'll make a little cameo on yours and Gobs because, people might want to see that. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, let's get our guest in here. He's right there. Okay, he's in here. Okay, Mr. Rorschach, what's going on? Look at that.
Wait, are we not doing the mask thing? I thought to stop the spread, we had to.
I think we're good. I think we're pretty distanced, being on both sides.
It's not through the internet because I thought it was the most deadly contagious virus ever.
Hey, I mean, according to some of the people who are running California, they might think that. So all right. I don't know. Yeah, you used to live in this state. You know how these politicians are over here. They might start preventing people from being on live streams without a mask. They'll have some kind of weird, stupid reason for it too, I bet.
Oh no, they'll shut down live streams completely.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah. So what's going on, Justin?
You can't even go to Disney.
Yeah, that's right. You've been. How many times have you gone to Disney?
I've only gone once, but I'm gonna go again soon. Okay. I went to, my buddy works at Disney, and they did because the parks were shut down. Whenever they open a new area, they do a cast preview. So the cast members test everything out first. Yeah. So I got to go to that for Animal Kingdom. And then he said he has some free tickets he gets because they get tickets all the time. So I've been waiting to go on Rise of the Resistance. So I'll go on Rise of the Resistance soon.
What is Rise of the Resistance?
The new Star Wars ride.
That's right. I was like,
no spoilers, but I'll do a podcast episode on it.
There you go.
But you talk about you're in the opening. You talk about all that interesting stuff.
Interesting stuff.
Let's see, the Zac Efron Baywatch thing. That actually became a controversy on my show.
Yeah.
Because I like to joke around about Zac Efron being the ideal, especially because of his whole thing with Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah.
And, my fiance is Filipino, or part Filipino. She's part Filipino. So we joke around about that a lot. So I made a joke about his body in Baywatch being the perfect body. But I was joking because what people don't understand about that scene is most of that movie he has his shirt on.
Yeah.
But in that scene, that's one scene, and his body fat percentage was 4 or 6% or something absurd.
I've
look that all the time.
Yeah, I've mentioned that before when it comes to the superhero movies. Even Hugh Jackman has talked about it. When he did his shirtless scene in Days of Future Past, he planned the day that he was going to be shirtless or essentially naked when he gets up in 1970. He is like unbelievably shredded because he's like dehydrated. He probably hadn't had a bite to eat or anything. So he's just totally his skin is just wrapped around his muscles. But all the other times, it's not, if he would have taken his shirt off at any other time, it wouldn't have been as ripped, and that's just what they do. They plan it. So you're absolutely correct. Like for that scene,
it's hydration.
Yeah.
It's food as well. I mean, if I have pizza, like I feel different for like 3 days until my body processes it. And then I feel normal. And even my skin feels different.
Yeah.
So,
it's whatever you're putting in your body, man. So, but I mean, what did you think about that movie, Baywatch? A lot of people in the chat have been telling it sucked.
I mean, I like Zac Efron and I like The Rock, so I wasn't gonna hate it. I wasn't gonna hate it, but I mean, it's one of those you watch it and you're like, okay, I saw that movie.
Yeah, I was disappointed because just like you, I like both of them, but like everything just fell flat. All the jokes were it just didn't work for me. I don't know.
But the original Baywatch was never that good.
Yeah.
So what people expected.
Yeah, it was all slow motion running and tight bathing suits and everything. I remember watching as a kid, especially on summer break. Woo, man, watching reruns like crazy. I remember me and my best friend who lived up the street. We used to we would phone call each other. Did you see that? Did you see that? When we'd be watching like episodes of Baywatch. We were such pervy little kids. Anyway, sir. So go ahead and plug your. You just talked about your podcast. Go ahead and plug it real quick.
Oh, my podcast. Yeah, I do a weekly podcast. Welcome to the Midside. We start out, we talk about 4 news stories about all the ridiculous that's going on. We've been doing it for this is the 8th year. So all the stuff that's going on now, we've been tracking this for years, and now we're all paying the bill for it. And I've actually seen it since college, but all this stuff is what happened at my college. So this is all like old school for me, old hat. Yeah. So we start out with that for 4 news stories. Then I go into an entertainment section. Like last episode, we talked about Hamilton. And talking about how Hamilton is more performative than anything. And I don't mean that it's theater. I mean, Hamilton doesn't really have a lot of substance to it. It's just sort of like, let's take the founding fathers and let's do this whole play with race swaps. And then we'll do it in the hip hop style and it'll be cool. But they never really go into the depth of Hamilton, where he was a Federalist, but he wanted a national bank. And those 2 things seem at odds. And then, he was at odds with Thomas Jefferson, with Aaron Burr. He's a large reason Aaron Burr wasn't president. So there's a lot that's there that they touch on the surface, but
they never go deep.
Not a lot of depth to it. Yet people loved it.
Yeah.
And the loving it was part of the performance as well. So we talk about that kind of stuff when it goes with art. I did a whole series on Zack Snyder, working through a series on Nolan. And we're waiting to have you as a guest because when Tenet premieres, we're going to have you on. And you'll talk with us about the news, and then we'll do a deep dive on that movie and our initial impressions, and that'll be really fun.
Yeah, whenever that movie comes out. I'm guessing that's not going to be till next year, probably. I don't know. It's not looking good. I know, and I love how Nolan is like digging his heels in and going like, no, I'm going to be the first big movie to come out. Come on. And he keeps on getting, I mean, everything else is getting delayed either to next year or by months. Like Tenet keeps on like 2 weeks at a time, it seems, because Nolan is just, he's just being a fucking boss and just going, no, we're making this happen, which I totally respect. But it's like, it's sooner or later, it's like the way things are happening right now. I mean, especially now in California when they've locked everything down again. I mean, that's well, if not the biggest market, it is the biggest market when it comes to the United States. So I'm like, I was even talking about with my some of my friends are talking about, well, yeah, but they're going to open up drive-ins. I'm like, yeah, but they're going to show old movies, or they'll show movies that'll go directly to VOD in like a couple of weeks. It's not going to be these big
movies in movie theaters at Universal City Walk here.
See, there you go.
$5 you can watch Back to the Future in theaters or Jurassic Park, and it's cool. Part of me kind of wants to do that. Yeah. But the other part of me doesn't want to sit there with a mask on for an hour and a half.
So they're still making you wear a mask like the whole time when you're watching? Like you have to? Yeah.
It's everywhere now. It's not, that's what people don't realize. It's not just the government's doing it, it's the corporations doing it now too, because they don't want to be sued, right? If somebody gets coronavirus and they go, oh, I caught it at Universal or I caught it at Walmart or Target. So everyone's making you do it now. It's not even government. It's
true. It's true, because even right now when I went to Rite Aid, they never had a sign posted for to wear a mask. I just kind of assumed because everybody's wearing a mask, but when I went there right now, they actually had a full-on sign posted for a face covering or whatever. So
yeah, they don't have the signs here, but most people, Walmart's crazy where they have a guy, they have one person posted outside, put on your mask, but a lot of places don't care. I had one girl working at the gym yell at me. I say yell. Like, I walked in and she goes, when you're not working out and you walk into the gym, you need to have a mask on. And I looked at her, I go, are you going to call the police? Because like 5 feet from the counter was the workout floor.
Yeah.
So now I walk in with my mask on, and the second I walk by them, I take it off. Like, most people
a little weird.
Don't care. We only do it because we have to.
Yeah. It's a little weird when it comes to gyms because, yeah, it's like if they allow you to not wear your mask. And so you got a bunch of people that are on exercise equipment or lifting weights going, whoo, 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 you know, and it's like stuff's coming out. You know, what are you going to do about that? I mean, gyms are like, you know, a cesspool of fucking germs, man. I mean, you got people. I mean, yeah, you have your little towel to wipe off like a little bit of sweat, but I mean, it's not a full on clean. It's a wipe down. The shit's still on there.
They have a lot more. They do have a lot more sanitizing stuff.
I know. Yeah.
You're supposed to wipe every time. And theoretically, right, this is one of my things about this whole thing is the whole social distancing thing and the whole healthier people aren't as susceptible. Theoretically, people who go to the gym should be living a healthier, sanitary lifestyle to begin with. Yeah. One of the reasons I'm not afraid is it's not going to affect me if I do catch it. And the odds of me catching it are low because people like to joke, oh, I socially distance already, blah, blah, blah. Look, when I'm around people I don't know, I keep my distance until I can assess if A, you're sick, or B, you're dangerous. Yeah. I don't understand these people who you walk around in public and they're like right behind you. Or you're right behind somebody else. If someone's right behind me and I don't know who you are, like my warning signs go up because you can just be like,
yeah, like get
the I just generally keep my distance from people. So I don't understand why this thing of like, for instance, when I was at Universal the other day, we walked into a store and there was a guy standing right in the middle of the entrance. Yeah. And I'm like, normally I'd be upset about that because it's like, this is the place where most people walk. But if you're trying to avoid getting sick and socially distancing is the thing, why are you standing exactly where everyone's going to go?
Yeah, I know. People are weird like that. Yeah, like when it comes to restaurants, I mean, restaurants were doing their due diligence of like, hey, let's have every other table open. We have the waiters and waitresses. Everybody's wearing a mask, gloves, the whole nine. I mean, it just seems like, hey, okay, they're doing the right thing, and now they have to be shut down again. That seems a little ridiculous to me when everything's happening. Yes, he's drinking water.
Not vodka. I swear it's water, not vodka. Get it?
Vodka. Yeah, that's exactly what Snyder said, and I didn't believe him either. But what was I going to say? Yeah, yesterday. I mean, last night I went to Palm Springs. Me and my friends went to Palm Springs, and we were literally, our table was out on the curb. I mean, it was on the curb. It was weird, and then we had to like put our mask on, go inside, order a drink, and then come back out with a number, and then the waiter just brings it out. And it was kind of just like, it's kind of a pain in the ass, you know? And then we just said, fuck it. After a few drinks, we're like, let's go to the casino. We just were like, screw it. Let's do it. But it was just weird because the dealers were wearing double masks. It was like double, like they had the surgical mask underneath, like a legit mask. It was like, all right. I mean, whatever.
Who's this guy trolling me? This Stallone fan. He's like, why do you wear your hat? What's the way with you look at a webcam? Like, yeah,
he's just being he's just being good old Stallone fan. He likes to do that.
I look at the screen and then I look at the chat and I look at the screen and I have my hat on for two reasons. One, because I'm from Boston and we like to wear hats like this. I don't know what to tell you. Look at Mark.
From Boston. I like those Sam Adams commercials. Your cousin.
And the other thing is I haven't had a haircut in a while. So
he's got that quarantine hair. I know. Yeah. It sucks too because they just shut down the salons. I wonder though, the Supercuts that I go to, I'm wondering, I'm going to call them up tomorrow and see if they're still open, because some places are saying "fuck you."
You guys need to start an underground economy, and what I mean by that is just call somebody and be like, "Yo, cut my hair. I'll come to your house." Just
seriously. Well, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Even like my friend Amanda, she said that she has a girl that she'll just show up to your house. Just shows up.
That's what'll happen. Until they start putting guns in people's faces and arresting them, that's what'll happen.
Oh, that's getting and who knows if that's going to happen, but
another conversation.
Yeah, okay, that's an entirely other conversation. Even though it seems like sometimes we're seeing like the beginning stages of reaching that
in Portland.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Did you see that? The Marines? They were just like fucking, hey, let's just grab this person, throw him in a truck. I mean, you partly like cheered because it was Antifa pieces of shit that they were doing it, but at the same time, it was a little scary. Like, wait a minute, what the fuck's going on up there? This is like full on it's full on, military enforcement here going on. And it's like a little scary, just a little bit. So.
And I'll talk about that on my podcast, the new episode that comes.
There you go.
I'll lead that conversation.
He's plugging too. Take a drink. You guys know the rules. So you have something to kind of, I don't know, partially announce. I mean, you have announced, but you have something that you've been working on for like the past year that you were going to discuss. And what is that, sir?
Okay. Well, I have announced it. I don't think people have quite grasped it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been explicit about it. So we're going to be explicit about it.
Let's be explicit.
So, I wrote a novel, and there's a reason I'm plugging it on here. And it's interesting because before we delve into the exacts of it, and what I want you to do is read the blurb from the back of the book I gave you.
Yeah.
And throw the cover up there while you're reading it. But before we do that, I actually want to go into your discussion of clout chasing.
Okay.
From the whole.
From the storyboard. Yeah. Okay. Right. We can talk about that first. I mean.
Right. Okay. Well, it transitions into it nicely because people could accuse me of quote unquote clout chasing based upon the content of my novel. And I think you made an interesting point that I want to tease out a little bit about what it means to clout chase. Mm-hmm. And it's actually related to the Fountainhead. So I want to be clear that I think the leak was wrong. I am assuming I know what's on the storyboard. I never saw it, but I asked Colbert what it was, and he was like, the Jim Lee storyboard, as if I knew what that was. So I'm assuming I know what it is.
Yeah.
I know all of you guys, and I know basically everything, but that's how little I care about this shit, right? Yeah. Again, just like you, I don't care about the spoiler of it at all.
Yeah.
What I care about is it is the property of Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Anything he creates as an artist is his property. Now, anyone he makes a contract with, such as the studio, also has rights to it. So they are the ones who get to decide what anything he creates under their contract when it gets released or not. That is up to them, right? That's what the whole battle about the Snyder Cut was.
Yep.
Now there's an argument about, oh, well, it was unjust that it didn't come out and we were okay leaking stuff then. I don't even think back then during the movement it was okay to leak it because he signed that contract. We're not talking about China and Hong Kong where you have to go and protest the communist government, right? It's not the government oppressing people. So I want to be clear about that the leak was wrong because it belonged to somebody else.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets into the whole clout chasing thing. Clout chasing is about your intentions. What are you looking for? Are you looking to do something you enjoy? Are you looking to create? Or are you just looking to get attention? This is where the Fountainhead comes in. Ayn Rand in the Fountainhead talks about something called being second-handed. Mm-hmm. Whereas the main character, Howard Rourke, creates architecture for the sake of architecture. He loves it. He wants to make the best art possible. Or do you make architecture for other people? Are you doing it because of what other people like, what matters to them? And when I look at somebody who's leaking something, they're only caring about what other people think and other people's attention. And that's what clout chasing is to me. It's not about doing what you love and thinking other people might like it and making money off of it. There's nothing wrong with making money off of something that you created and you enjoy. Yeah. You love. But if you're making money simply by pandering, because that's what other people like, that's what's wrong. And that's what clout chasing is. And that's the thing to assess. And that's the thing to look at. Is this person has been enabled since the movement ended, quote unquote ended, since the cut was announced, this person was raised up because he's been doing these kind of activities. He's been clout chasing by saying things like, oh, I have confirmation that Ben Affleck's coming back as Batman. Yeah. There's only one reason to say that, because he knows you want to hear that. So you have to look at yourself and say, why am I enabling this person?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, that was my whole gripe about it too. It was like, and I even like, yeah, that's what pissed me off too. And I'm like, you know, there's the claims that are constantly like, oh, we're not in it for clout. I'm like, then why are you leaking stuff? Why are you doing? You know, it's like, just lean into it. You know, you don't have to constantly wave that flag of we're not doing this. It's like, just stop. Now it's too much. Like they have to preface everything so much that now, And I get it. Like they're nonprofit, they're this, that, and this. I mean, who knows like what exactly, if that's all fully true, but I mean, to me, I guess it is. You go on their site, there's not like ads everywhere and everything like that.
Who's nonprofit?
They say that the culture nerd, they always say they're nonprofit.
You know how many nonprofit people who run nonprofits make 6-figure salaries?
Exactly. That's why you don't know, like they might be able to say that, but who knows what's going on, the logistics of behind the scenes. It's weird. I don't know.
Jose got it right. That's my opinion.
This one right here?
Right. And Jose even said, why did they delete it? Jose, they deleted it because they got negative attention. That's what it was. Everything they do is based on attention. Yeah. And that's up to you as an audience member, not you, Jose, in specific, but everyone. That's up to you to decide who do you want to support or not. I've given you my point of view.
Yeah, and I've said it many times. I don't have a problem with them. I mean, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Fine, do it. But you're gonna get pushback. And when everybody asks me, are they legit or not? I go, I don't know. Like I have my own information, my own sources. Some of the stuff that they've claimed already happened, like Ben Affleck is confirmed to come back, and then all of a sudden there'll be words like, well, possibly. He possibly. I know, right? And it's just like. I'm like, it's not what I'm hearing. And it's like, okay, there's some things that are probably right. Like, hey, yes, AT&T and Warner Media definitely want him to come back. I mean, it sounds like they're all in for like a Snyder verse. And it's like they have a Batman movie or possibly series that is just sitting there that is probably really, really good. So they have it just sitting there and they're just waiting on Affleck. And then we got the Ayer cut. Talking about that. I mean, they've mentioned it too. Now it seems like something's really, that's why I labeled tonight's thing cut to cut, because we already got the Snyder cut announced. Now it seems like the Ayer cut is about to be announced because there's supposed to be a big push that's going to happen Monday. And it's like a no brainer. Like it really is a no brainer. I think for Monday, it's just everybody pushing the Ayer cut, hashtag release the Ayer cut. It's just a show, just to reassure all the people, Warner Media, AT&T, and even Warner Brothers to just be like, hey, we got a whole other fucking thing right here, easier to get out, and it seems like people want it. And I think it's pretty awesome, But
again, this is where use your brain, use your judgment, look at what people are saying, right?
Yeah.
This guy can say whatever he wants about the Ayer cut.
Yeah.
Dave, what did I say on this stream after it was announced, after the Zack Snyder Justice League was announced? Didn't I say you don't even need to campaign for the Ayer cut? It's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Now I can sit there and I can be second-handed and say I want viewers for this, and I can go, well, I'm going to tell you guys something that I heard.
Yeah,
it's going to come out, and then I'll look smart when it comes out eventually. Yeah. But I don't need to BS like that because I'm not second-handed in that way. That's why I'm saying use your judgment to listen to how people are saying things.
Yeah, there's key words. I mean, that's why I always hate it when I see exclusive in like big capital letters. I'm like, you had an exclusive from a person that you can't name. Like I don't mind exclusives when they say like full on, hey, Warner Brothers just released this, this PR package that shows a list of our stuff that's coming out, or so-and-so from Warner Brothers or from a studio says this. Okay, you could say exclusive. You had an exclusive interview, blah, blah. But when it's like a source that you can't name and who knows if it's one person, could be like multiple people passing shit around. Who knows? Because let's face it, when it comes to the scooping game behind the scenes, it's crazy. Like DMs, people are on DMs. You got people in chats and people are communicating with a lot of people just to try to just to get information. I mean, it's a crazy fucking weird. I mean, I know people that I text and people that I DM and just to see what the hell is going on out there. And so when I see exclusive and they can't name where exclusively it came from, I'm like, stop using that word, please. I don't like it.
When I look at channels and I see how many followers they have or subscribers and they start saying exclusives and they know what's going on, I go, why would anyone tell you? That would be like them telling me, and nobody tells me shit. So
yeah, it's all pretty crazy. But I don't know. Do you want to now reveal the book?
Yeah. So it's interesting. You say from cut
to cut. It's another reason why I named it that.
So throw it up there. Throw the graphic up there.
Whoop, there it is, guys.
Graphic. There we go. So I've been writing a novel. And people may be asking, hey, why are we just talking about a random book Justin wrote? It's not a random book I wrote. Read the back of the book, and let's see if anyone can hear. So this is the blurb that I intend to have on the back of the book. Let's see if anyone can hear.
Are you going to read it?
What it's inspired by.
You going to read it or you want me to read it?
I want you to read it. Do it all professional like, hey, I'm having Justin on the show to talk about his new novel. Here's
right. Here it is. Okay, so the blurb right here, it says, adapting Alliance was a lifelong dream that Sean Ryder, first off, Sean Ryder, had you come up with that name because Ryder Strong played Sean from Boy Meets World? When I saw that name, I was like, wait a minute. Was that it? Was that inspired by that?
Yeah, because I also, in the future, may potentially want to have the hashtag Ride or Die.
Okay.
But
that's cool. I like it.
But yeah,
anyway.
I wanted a name like, and
funny.
Sean was very good. And then I was like, oh, I'll do Sean Ryder because that sounds awesome.
It does. It's a good name. It's good. Anyways, adapting Alliance was a lifelong dream that Sean Ryder thought would never happen. Now he stands on the precipice of directing that movie, but he'll find out that the studio system is nearly impossible for any man to navigate, especially one of integrity and passion. Ivan Jeffries built his career and reputation in publishing on The Alliance. As production on the big screen adaptation it ramps up, he finally found a foothold in the film industry. Sorry, I kind of choked on my words there. The problem is he's not the director and the man who won't listen to him or seemingly anyone else about it. The cut is about what didn't actually happen during the production of Alliance, a major studio misfire so massive that careers and lives were changed forever. The story traces the key events of pre-production, production, and post-production to reveal what happens in the world where people live by the mantra, you can't make it alone. So there it is, guys. I do like, explain the whole you can't make it alone. How'd you come up with that little tagline?
Okay, so if anyone hasn't figured out, this is based on a true story, right? Based on, because we don't know what actually happened, and we'll never know what actually happened, but there are things that are said, and it's based on this. So this is not a true story. Yeah. This is based on a true story. So I don't want to act like I'm portraying reality at all, but you know, Sean O'Connell said that somebody asked him if he was going to tell the story of production for Justice League. Yeah. And he said, that's somebody else's story to tell. And I was like, oh, that's my story to tell. So what I did was I took the whole concept of made, based on a true story, and I crossed it with the Fountainhead to write this. So this is sort of that kind of approach to it. Do you have to be an objectivist to like it? No, not at all. You don't have to. This is not objectivist in any way besides the sense that I am and I have my ideas I believe in here. And that's what leads into the cover. So obviously there's part of this cover that you know what this is from, right? Yeah, absolutely. It looks like the bat signal. Yeah. The bat signal, right? That was the first thing I said. I wanted to do a minimalist approach to it. Yeah, I like that. I really like minimalism, and one of my best friends is a huge graphic guy, and he does minimalism. I like how he does it. So I was like, you know what? I want to do this whole thing DIY, because it would be really ironic if I went and I gave this to a publisher and they were like, we need to change this. It's like, isn't that what yeah, it kind of goes against what you're writing about. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I wanted to do DIY, and one of the biggest costs is designing a cover. So I did this cover myself. I based it on the bat signal, right? And then I needed to come up with a slogan. And I truly believe the slogan on the Justice League poster, you can't save the world alone, I don't think that was the Snyder slogan at all. Probably not. I think that was the Whedon, Jeff Johns studio creation. So I was like, why don't I take that and flip that on its head? Because one of the major things that's said, especially in the film industry, is you can't make it alone. And it's a double entendre here. It's the idea that you can't survive on your own, you can't be successful on your own. You can't make the cut on your own. So the cut is a double entendre. It's, you can't make the movie on your own, but you also can't survive on your own. When people say you can't make the cut. There you go. I like it. And then, when we compare this book to O'Connell's book, these are two different beasts. It's not like they're both like the same kind of thing. Like what he said, O'Connell, when somebody asked him about the certain story about everything, it's like, that's somebody else for someone to write. That's exactly what Justin's trying to do here. So, I mean, O'Connell's is simply just about the fandom and just the movement itself as a whole. But this right here is just, like you said, based on a true story, but of course, fictional characters and everything like that. So, right. I want to be clear about that. Yeah. So, not that I'm afraid of getting sued or anything, because I'm not, But I want to be clear about the intent when I say based on a true story. I'm not interested in, and this is something I share with Snyder, and that's why I'm a fan of him. I'm not interested in documenting reality. That has no interest in me. I'm interested in taking, reality and what makes it awesome and what makes it terrible.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows, I'm paraphrasing a Snyder quote here, who he's actually paraphrasing the Romantic Manifesto. But I'm interested in taking what's awesome and what's terrible about it and showing that and exaggerating it and creating based upon that, not just recreating what happened. So it's not going to be a straight like, this is what happens when you're making a movie. Because honestly, if you've ever been on a set, like a 13-hour day is not interesting.
Boring, yeah.
Right. What I did was I took pre-production, production, and post-production, and I found out what the major events were and what had to be linked in there. And I lined those up. And then I said in between there, how do I get in between there? And what are the characters and what are the beats I need to tell this story from the perspective to show what happens psychologically, philosophically, emotionally in order to get to what happened.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. How long have you been working on it?
So this actually, that's a tough question because it came together pretty quickly because of quarantine, obviously. It's funny because when quarantine first started, people were like, don't feel a lot of pressure to be in good shape and write the great American novel when you leave quarantine. I was like, yeah, I don't think like that. And then in the morning, I was doing 3 sets of 50 push-ups, sit-ups, and chin-ups, and at night. And then I ended up writing a novel. So,
there you go.
So the actual physical writing was, March to June. And still in the phase of there are beta readers right now and there might be edits there, but I'm pretty satisfied with it. But how long have I actually been writing it? How long have I been a Zack Snyder fan? I couldn't have written it if I wasn't a fan of all this, if I wasn't involved in this. So this is really years in the making. That's why it was able to come so easily. It's not like I was like, I'm going to write in a story about a zookeeper, and then I had to go research being a zookeeper and everything, right? It's all the research was basically already done in a way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what's good though about the quarantine. You took advantage of, hey, if I'm going to be home, might as well get some shit done. Writing a novel. Have you written any short stories before or anything?
I had a short story. This is really funny actually that you bring this up because this is going to sound like such bullshit, but it's not. I had a short story published in a sci-fi magazine back in the day. I was referred to, my friend was going to Columbia and he was like, oh, there's this zine you should try and get published in. And I did. I sent them a story and they published it. It was called WTF. And it was about this guy named Frank T. Woodruff. And he was an assassin who was sent back in time to kill people who destroyed the culture by undermining it. And the way he was sent back in time was that he lived time backwards. That's why it's called WTF. Yeah. And that was a big twist that was revealed at the end of the story.
Crazy.
And the reason that's going to sound like bullshit is I watched the Tenet trailer.
Yeah.
And they go through time backwards at one point, and they're putting him in a program. I'm pretty sure he's going to live time backwards or something in that movie. So
yeah, there's going to be some kind of twisty little. Yeah, I know. You might already have the ending written. Hey, nothing wrong with that. If
I don't want to seem like that.
Yeah.
It sounds like bullshit because it could very easily be like, oh, this guy saw what happened. He wants to sound smart. Yeah. I did write a book when I got out of college. I never tried to get it published. I'm probably glad I didn't because when I think back on it, it probably wasn't worth it. But I'm pretty proud of it. It was a time travel novel about kids who were freshmen in college, and they discovered that time travel had already been created. And what made this time travel different was time wasn't linear, it was a circle. So there was no beginning in the end. So when you time traveled, and this is the way I got around predestination paradoxes and everything, you became timeless. And what that meant was you became unstuck from the fabric of time, from the causal events of time. So nothing you did could ever cause yourself not to be born. So once you became timeless, basically, you could socially engineer the timeline. And that's what the plot of the story became, is not only did they discover that time travel existed, but there was a society of timeless people who were trying to socially engineer the timeline in order to create the best possible universe.
I like it. I like
it. Similar to, there was an episode of a two-parter of Voyager that had it too.
Really?
Where Kurtwood Smith actually was trying to stick a boot in Time's ass because his wife died, and he was trying to engineer the timeline in that way. But he had more of a micro perspective. This was more of a macro perspective, commenting on people trying to socially engineer life.
Interesting. Yeah. See, I like that. I like time travel stories that don't have to do with like machines, like an actual time machine. Yeah. I mean, one of the movies that doesn't really get mentioned a lot that I really enjoyed and it actually inspired me to write a similar movie was The Butterfly Effect. Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie, like just the way that it was all like a mental thing, and the way that it started off, like when you showed him growing up and he had these blackout phases, and turns out when he was older, he can go back to those spots when he blacked out, and of course it all messed up the timeline and everything. And
but this is a perfect example to talk about what I was talking about with being second-handed versus being a good artist. And somebody in the chat mentioned Palm Springs earlier. This works with Palm Springs as well.
Oh, that's right. I still haven't seen that movie. I want to see it.
Okay, well, I won't spoil Palm Springs, but I'll say I have the same critique of Palm Springs that I have for Butterfly Effect. Palm Springs is a great movie. I recommend it.
Yeah.
Butterfly Effect, great movie. I recommend it.
The ending.
Butterfly Effect, pussied out.
Yeah. Well, they always want that happy.
Where he realizes that his entire existence, because he can do this time travel thing, will always fuck with the timeline and other people's lives.
Especially the love of his life, yeah.
Especially the love of his life is not worthwhile. So he kills himself in the uterus. And that's why
that's
find out earlier in the story, his mom keeps having miscarriages. And then at the end, when he dies, you go, shit, that's why his mom kept having miscarriages, because her kids kept doing this.
I completely forgot about the alternate ending where he like kills himself in the womb. Wow.
Right. That's such a better ending than what they did, which, it's a dark ending. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't necessarily fit my sense of life, but it's a better ending than like him deciding like, go away, I don't love you. And then
now that I think about it. Yeah. And
because they were pandering to the audience.
They were.
And Palm Springs does a similar thing where I would have honestly just cut the last scene.
Yeah.
And the second to last scene where that ends, that would have been the end of the movie for me, because it fit the theme. Just like Inception fit the theme, where it doesn't matter if the top falls or not. The point is he accepted the fact that to be happy, he just needed to not care if reality was real or not, because he could never really know in the epistemological sense. So he just wanted to focus on his family.
Yeah. And then like another movie that's mentioned too, Stallone fan, Frequency. That was also a pretty good time travel movie that I really enjoyed as well. I mean, the concept of guy doesn't have his father, has old radio, and then the Northern Lights, he's able to communicate, and there's like all, fucks up the timeline. I mean, of course that has a safe ending too, but it's a happy ending. I mean, I'm a fan of the dark endings too. Like when I watched Butterfly Effect, I wrote a movie called Deja Vu, and my whole concept was this character was going back in time. I mean, going back in time in like segments, not like it'd be moving forward, but then every now and again, all of a sudden, it's like it's back like a couple hours. And it's like, what the fuck? Why all of a sudden, all of a sudden, like you're talking to somebody, you walk out, to the kitchen and walk back, and they're not there, and you look at the time, and it's like 2 hours earlier or something like that. Yeah. And there's like there's a tragedy that happens at the beginning of the movie where a car comes speeding around the corner, and him and his friend are walking to the car. Friend gets hit by the car. So I think you could probably guess how the ending is. It loops all the way back to the car is actually the character, blah, blah, blah. It's like a big time loop kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of cool. So there's also a movie called Deja Vu. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there was the Deja Vu one, and then there was the Nicolas Cage one where he could see something happen.
Yeah, no, or something like that, or no, something like Next.
Frequency was about the firefighter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. See, I didn't see those movies because when I was a kid, I don't know if you realize where these firefighter movies came from. There was that one, and White Noise was about the firefighters too, right?
The White Noise was Michael Keaton, right? That was about.
Right. Was that not the firefighter one too?
I don't think so.
Right. Frequency was inspired by something that happened in my hometown. There was a huge tragedy when I was in high school where these firefighters went into this burning building and it collapsed and they died in it. And that's where Frequency was inspired from. So I never saw it as a kid because I was like, I don't want to fucking deal with that. Especially because the building was abandoned. It was homeless people who lit the fire. So it was a huge tragedy.
That's terrible. I didn't know that. But yeah, someone also mentioned Dark on Netflix. I've actually started to watch that. I'm 2 episodes in. No, I'm 3 episodes in. Very interesting. I mean, at first it's a little jarring because it's in a different language. I don't even know what language it is. I think it's German. It might be. I think it's a German show. So it's dubbed over. So it kind of
the trailers for that look good.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it deals with time loops as well. Pretty much stuff that happened 33 years ago is starting to happen again in this, and it has to. There's like it's even hard. I'm trying to understand what's going on, and this series is like going in this. It's already like 3 seasons. I'm like, wow, they're gonna like go with this concept, and I'm like, because usually if you have a time loop concept, I mean, you got to end it. 2 hour, 3, 2.5 hour mark. You kind of wrap it up. This is like stretching out to like many hours of content, but it's really good. It's so far, I'm digging it right now. So I don't know if you've seen it. Probably not, right? You haven't seen it. It's German, yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. A lot of the stuff people are saying I haven't seen, which makes me feel like stupid because I love time travel stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, check it out.
I think Flash Forward had that problem, didn't it? Where it was like they got to the first event at the end of the first season, and then like they had to figure out a way, but they never did because they got canceled. But a lot of shows have that problem where they deviate from their original premise after the first season because it's a limited premise.
Yeah, I mean, there's like there was that one movie too. Did you ever see Primer? There's like an indie movie that had to do with time travel.
Oh, it was the guys inventing time travel?
Yeah, it's a very interesting. I need to watch it again. I watched it a long time ago, like right after it came out. I need to watch it again, but it was very interesting. And then, of course, you got movies like Edge of Tomorrow, that have that time loop thing. That was great. That was a great, sci-fi mixed with the time loop. Where I just don't know how they're gonna do a second one. It's like, do we need a second one? But I guess if they have a good script, I mean, anything's possible, right? So
yeah.
But
I like when it's like you said. I don't like when it's a machine or when it's with the mechanics. Like 12 Monkeys. Like, look, I love Bruce Willis. He's one of my favorite actors, and I saw it because it's time travel and Bruce Willis. But I don't like when I watch a movie and I get to the end and it's like, oh, this whole thing was predetermined and there's no way of getting around it. Like,
yeah, you don't like. Oh, you didn't. So you didn't like the ending of 12 Monkeys?
I mean, is it clever? I guess so, but it's a sense of life thing, right? Like, I believe in free will and I believe life has value. And when you basically say there's no free will and everything we've done has already been determined, it's like, well, fuck, I'm just going to sit around and jerk off all day then. Like,
might as well. What about Looper? Someone brought up Looper.
Yeah, it's similar.
I mean, that has to do with the machine, of course. Yeah, but
I mean, it's Bruce Willis. It's
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, the wow, I'm blanking on his name, but it's probably his movie that I like the most.
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think we remember from our D23 Snyder Cut video that you're not a fan of Ryan Johnson.
I saw Knives Out because it was on Amazon, and I decided not to review Amazon Prime. So I was like, I'm just gonna watch everything on Amazon Prime I can. I watched that. I watched My Spy. Knives Out. It's like
you didn't like it,
considering what they made it about. The whole thing was about immigration. I was like, how do you make this about
yeah.
The better movie was the Ready or Not, does the same theme, but it's about old money and the corruption of old money and status and privilege, but it does it better rather than making it about immigration. Like it Knives Out to this weird thing where it's like all these people are corrupt because they're privileged, and also they oppress immigrants, and I'm like, that's like 2 different themes in one movie, and you're just sort of getting it in there. But at least I understand why Ana de Armas is famous now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the shot at the end where she's on the balcony and they're all looking up at her. I mean, that was like, it was like okay, yeah, just drill that last little bit in, just that last little like symbolism in there. I mean, we get it, but I mean, for the most part, I really enjoyed the movie. I like the structure of how they did the whodunit thing.
I have a problem with when I watch a movie and I come up with an ending that I think is better and they don't do it. Like when I was watching that movie, I was like, this guy fucking faked his death to test all these people to see who actually belongs in his will.
Yeah.
Then they didn't do that, and they were like, "Oh no, it's this whole convoluted thing because the Hispanic girl's a good person." And I'm like, "Yeah, she's a good person. She should be in the will." Yeah, I agree. We don't need to twist this movie. I just thought it would have been a better movie if he faked his death to make it seem like he was dead, to see how they would all react, so he could decide who was in the will, and then that's why James Bond was there. Daniel Craig was there.
Yeah.
He was there because he was the observer to see how they all acted and report back to the grandfather.
I love how like Smoking Aces and Knives Out. I mean, they're not exactly the same, but I mean, yeah, Smoking Aces. I like that movie. I really dig it. Oh my. So, but did you ever see? You saw Smoking Aces, right?
A long time ago. I don't remember. I mean, that's Ryan Reynolds and a bunch of people being assassins, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy story. I remember I even like a long time ago when I was really into writing, like I wrote like 4 full-length scripts and like a couple of short scripts, because I was into like, hey, let's make some short movies, me and my friends. And so I wrote, I was thinking about one where like kind of the similar concept of like, every hitman going after like one person kind of concept. And, I mean, that movie's pretty insane. And it's got like, it jumps all over the place. It almost is too twisty and turny where you're like, it's kind of jarring of like, okay, wait a minute. So this guy is who now? And then all of a sudden, but it's got a pretty good ending, I thought, with Reynolds, and he's just like, fuck everybody, fuck my job. And he's just like, these people don't need to stay alive. And he just pulls the plug on everybody. So I actually thought that was like, yeah, it was a good ending. What was that? Joe Carnahan? Yeah. He's a great director, but what was I gonna say? There's another. I know some people were making the joke of speaking of time travel, why is nobody talking about Endgame? Yeah, that's a little. I mean, that's like. I mean, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to when it comes to Zack Snyder's Justice League is how he approaches the time travel. I mean, we already know the concept that he told us about at the Snyder event, and it sounds good. Like it's pretty good. I mean. You can rip anything apart. Anytime that you have a time travel concept, I mean, look at Back to the Future. Undoubtedly one of the best time travel movies. One of the best. We love that movie. That's just it's one of the best. Everybody has that in their top 10. But you can
anybody who watches that movie likes it. So my fiance started working at an old folks home, and she like helps them with entertainment on the weekend. So a lot of times she'll put on movies on Netflix, and she was like, "Yeah, they really wanted to watch the Back to the Future trilogy." So I watched it. I had never seen it. I love them except for that Western one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the Western one. I mean,
but if even she likes it, like everybody loves Back to the Future.
Yeah, everybody does. But like I said, you could easily rip that apart and everything. Yeah. Little things here and there. I mean, that's why I'm just like when it comes to especially. I mean, yeah, Predestination. That's another great time travel flick with Ethan Hawke. That's another weird one that you have to watch. Like immediately you watch it again. Carrie brought up Time Cop. that's like just a sci-fi concept. I mean, that was based on a comic book and turned into a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie with the mullet. That's a mullet Van Damme. Okay, there's a few Van Damme movies out there that he has the mullet. But all right, we're gonna start inviting some people in here to, of course, to the panel. Mr. Chris Wong Swenson is here.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
How you doing? Just good, Dave. Justin, how are you guys?
We're good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm just opening up a new bottle right now.
There you go. There you go.
I was only having a hard time, and then it came out. I'm like, oh, I forgot to open the bottle.
Okay. I'm looking at Twitter right now. You know what's happening? People are having debates about fictional characters, whether they'd be Trump supporters or not. So right now, Hank Hill and Al Bundy and Ron Swanson, even they're all like trending right now because everybody's wondering if they would actually be a Trump supporter. And it's so stupid.
What?
Like people are like actively pissed at first to think that Hank Hill would be a Trump supporter. And I'm like, well, would that shock anybody if you actually was? I don't know.
Well, Ron Swanson, he's
No, Ron Swanson's a libertarian. Don't even.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm just saying. Didn't they go over? Didn't they have? Wasn't Trump part of the plot or no?
Was it?
Was it something else? Or was I don't know. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to get into it because I actually been rewatching The Office right now, and it's kind of funny too because in the world of social media and Twitter and all these apps that have GIFs. And there's so many Office GIFs. So then like, it's almost like every other episode, you're like, hey, there's that GIF. there's that GIF right there. Like I'm seeing them all over again. I'm like, I use that GIF all the time. There it is in that episode. So I've been like seeing that. But I need to get into Parks and Recs for sure because I know it's similar. It has a similar structure. But anyways,
that's like what people are doing when they're bored on a Saturday night. That's what's trending.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I mean, Al Bundy, I think he'd be a Trump supporter. I think he would.
That's probably that would make
Hank
sense.
Hill, come on. Hank Hill. I sell propane and propane accessories. I'm a Trump supporter. Oh,
I think it's hard to know though because it's so complicated. Yeah. And it's more than as you're seeing the fact that people are talking about who these people would support. Who you support nowadays isn't like you go and you vote and then like you live the rest of your life and you just don't talk about it with people and it's not a big deal. Nowadays it's like a badge you wear and it's like what team you're on and it would add things in the show that aren't there. Like I was joking with my friend about we actually in text message basically wrote a 2-episode arc of House about COVID, the COVID outbreak and the Black Lives Matters protests and what would happen if that happened on House and everything. And it's like, well, House would obviously not want to wear a mask and he'd fight back about wearing a mask. But then immediately people would be like, are you saying House is conservative, blah, blah, blah? No, House just doesn't like authority. But people are trying to fit these characters into these boxes.
Yeah.
When it's way too complicated what's going on nowadays to put these characters in these boxes.
That's where you throw out the fictional characters.
I know. Characters, I know. Because when earlier I clicked on the Hank Hill trend, and there were some people like vehemently pissed about like, no, he would never be a Trump supporter. It's like, shut the fuck up, okay? Damn it, Bobby, huh?
That's pretty good.
I know, ask the writer. No.
Yeah, I know. Ask Mike Judge. He probably would be like, he'd be like, I don't care. I don't care. He would just say that. I mean, that's Mike Judge. You know, one thing about Mike Judge, I mean, that guy has created some of the most he's kind of created like iconic characters. Of course, Beavis and Butthead. You got, of course, King of the Hill, and then you have like movies like Office Space, which is classic, and then you got Silicon Valley, which I haven't watched yet, but I heard it's great. I mean, he's quietly. I mean, it's funny too because I think this got brought up on a podcast I listened to. I mean, you compare him to like if you ask like who's more, I guess, successful creatively, Seth MacFarlane or Mike Judge. I mean, I almost say like Mike Judge has done. I mean, you have Idiocracy, which is another classic, which basically it predicted where we were going. You know, back in the mid 2000s, for shit's sake. I mean, Jesus. So I mean, it's just funny how Mike Judge, if you were to walk by you in a mall, you would not know that was Mike Judge. But if it was from Seth MacFarlane, you would. You know? But it's just like when you look at their IMDb's and you're like, holy shit. Like, look at how much shit Mike Judge has actually created. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Agree with Justin. I have been randomly called Trump supporter on Twitter just because they didn't agree with my film choices. I'm not even American. Oh yeah, I've been there.
Not even American.
Oh yeah, I've been accused of being a Trump supporter too, and like, oh yeah, get your MAGA hat on. Junkee. And I'm like, what?
They're even doing it in the chat where they're arguing over whether Batman would support Trump or not.
Oh, geez, not that.
Oh, no.
BBS and stuff. Like, this goes back to the whole, like,
all right, Mr. Colbert.
People are like, oh, you like Ayn Rand, you're right wing. It's like, no, people are trying to simplify things and put them in boxes. It's just, it demonstrates why those people aren't worth talking to.
Well, sure, but Chris actually donated to the Trump campaign.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah, so I don't know
right now. I knew he was going to exclusive.
I don't even care if you did. If you did, I'm glad you support your values. How about that?
Sorry, there was no response to that. That was intended as a joke. If it was true, we'll just brush over it.
Get out of
for me? Oh, it's like which Chris? I thought it was someone in the chat.
We're talking about you, Batty.
See, I'm really slow right now. I've been through hell today with the pool and the kids.
Oh yeah.
The beach was crowded.
Usually it's a Friday. You've gotten off work and everything. It's like time to relax. But now you guys, especially you guys with the kids, probably had some eventful days.
My day started with a temper tantrum, and I don't want to wear socks. It's like, well, that's
great start.
You don't want to wear socks. Say about the masks.
Yeah. But you're right. Every day it seems to be getting a little crazier with the kids.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
we're getting more and more bored.
yeah. Did you guys check out? Did you see the book announcement or the
Yeah.
Did you guys check that out? Do I got oh, that's it right there. So here's the cover right there for everybody who's just joining us right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's bad. I regret
That's
being
cool.
so like disorganized and behind on the things I committed to, because I told Justin I'd read some of it and give him some feedback.
So did
and
I. Don't worry.
Truth be told, I've not had a chance to even.
I'm
Hey, you guys
I'm
are
gonna-
data readers.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I like that you're talking about the production. I think
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the release of Snyder Cut book, right? But
Yeah.
I want to know about the production part of it. And I think especially when Zach is kind of comparing the Fountainhead, I think you're on the money there. That could be a very compelling read. I mean, I want to see it through that eyes, because I think that is probably the way to go, because he's probably, like you said, seeing some of that comparisons himself with what he's gone through with the Fountainhead. I think it'll be a really good book, man. I'm ready to read it, Justin.
And from what I'm excited about, and what I've talked to Justin about a little bit that I'm looking forward to with it is that and Justin said a little bit about this too, and he was explaining it, that production is like a complicated thing, and and I know that it's a dramatization, and so it's not intended to be strictly about how the production process works, and certainly not beat for beat what happened to Zack Snyder.
Correct.
But as
the theme is not to recount a studio production. That's not
right.
Mm-hmm.
There's in the myth of this story, or this kind of story, because this is not the only time this has happened. Maybe one of the biggest examples, one of the most notable times. There's a lot of conspiracy theories and a lot of representations of things. It's like, that's just not how that works. And I know that, like I said, it is a dramatization, but I know that you've done a lot of research to make sure it is true in its essence to, if not Snyder's story, if it would be a true Hollywood story, I guess you could say, of thematically and like the concepts, like the way you approach it is very much like, this is the type of thing that happens in these situations, as opposed to, I'm sure maybe there's some drama and conspiracy in there, but as opposed to just like the well, this guy just wanted to have all the movies for himself.
Like, will it be in physical and digital, or digital only?
So I'm looking into print on demand options right now. That will be a little bit more expensive than a normal physical book because it's print on demand. But like I said, I really wanted to do this DIY for two reasons. One, I honestly, in today's day and age where people are getting canceled for like the smallest thing, I don't even want to try and get involved with one of these corporations. And two, the essence of the story is the artist deserves to make his story. The creator deserves to make his story. So who am I if in the year 2020, when all of this technology is available, that I'm begging and saying, well, please let me make my story when I'm writing a story about making stories? Like, it wouldn't make any sense. So.
No, I get that.
That's the answer.
Like, anything else? No, I get that. No, because I mean, do you plan on doing like maybe like an Audible thing, or no? Probably not go that far.
Honestly, it depends on how successful it is. Like, if it becomes successful, then I can pay someone to record it. Maybe I can pay Ray Porter to record it.
Hey.
I'm serious about that.
That'd be pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
That'd
I
be
mean,
really
I'm
cool.
always about like the author reading it, but I mean, if you're gonna get a voice like Ray Porter,
No, I don't want to read it myself.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I guess I could do that for free. Like, because I could read it myself, and I have my podcast set up and everything, and I have pretty good audio. But why do that? How much cooler would it be if I could get Ray Porter to read it eventually?
That's very true.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's about how successful it is, right? Because if I can then reinvest and do a run of books that'll sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the physical copies may go down in price, right? But I can't promise that. I'm just going to see what happens with it.
That's cool, but when it comes to like when do you think like the book is going to be like available for purchase? It's going to be probably like around next year, like around the time that the Zack Snyder's Justice League gets released.
No, I mean I'm hoping in the next 3 months or so.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh,
So I've
That's
already got research done as far as like how to format for Mobies and EPUBs, which are the Amazon Reader and the generic e-reader.
Mhm.
And so then I'm waiting for beta readers to get back to me, and then I have to figure out what I'm going to do about proofreading as far as that goes. If I just want to do another pass, how much?
Yeah, hurry up, Steven. Jeez.
And then once I do that, then I have to use the program to format. What'd you say about proofreading?
And I said, hurry up, Steven. Come on.
He was giving me a hard time for.
I know, because I'm right there too, because I know you wanted me to
My
read.
fiance too, so don't feel bad.
I know. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm gonna try. Ooh, somebody said have Jackie Earl Haley fucking narrate it. There you go.
oh.
I mean, if I could pay for that, that's
I
the
know.
other thing too. I did
That's so
consider a crowdfunding campaign for stuff like that, but I don't. Crowdfunding's still played out in today's day and age, and it's a book, and I already did the art and everything. So
And
most of the
it would
costs-
surely go over so well, considering how every crowdfunding campaign that's not like done by the right person and supported by the right people does in this community. Like,
Well, and then while we're saying this, I guess I might as well make an announcement I was going to make later. 25% of every sale I'm going to donate to AFSP.
There you go.
awesome.
That's what we're talking about right there. That's what it's all about,
That's
guys. I mean,
awesome.
Justin, I didn't even really. I meant to talk about this, but now that Chris and Steven are here, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Justice Con? Looking forward to it.
Unfortunately, I have a friend visiting, and this was planned way before Justice Con was announced, so I'm not going to be able to.
Oh,
You can still watch it later. It's all going to be. The panels will all be available. It's not like it's you got to watch live thing. Of course, that's what's great about the technology nowadays. But so you're not going to be around next weekend. You're saying?
No, because my friend's going to be here, and I have a rule for my life with the internet, and it's if real life is in front of me, I do real life rather than the internet. And look,
that's a good rule.
tell me, somebody will tell me if there's anything worthwhile that happens on it or anything, right? So.
Well,
Yeah, we'll DM you.
I mean, it's not going to be much. I mean, I think somebody is going to be from the movie there, maybe a couple people. But, no, it should be interesting. I mean, I'm looking forward to that day, seeing what happens with everything, and then of course our after show stuff should get interesting too. And then I don't know. Like I was kind of like debating. I'm like, should I have a vodka stream, a pre-vodka stream on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday? I don't know.
Come on, man.
Isn't it always a vodka stream?
Yeah.
Have it's a pregame on Friday. We call it pregame stream.
What's your because on
Pre-game
Saturday you're
show.
on at like 5:30 or 7:30. Your time, right?
Well, the schedule is
The ending what?
It's there's question marks because they're just going to give.
Oh
Yeah, they're not. Every panel has like an hour and 15 minutes for everybody. But when it comes to Snyder, he's they're just going to let him talk for how long he wants. My whole thing is like, maybe after he's done all that, he pours himself a scotch, maybe, gets a link sent to him and he shows up on a panel that's maybe around these parts and, shoots the shit with some people that love him. And Justin, if that happens, I'm sorry.
Ditch your friend, Justin.
What time is your stream?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to, I mean, like what? I don't even remember what the schedule is supposed to end. When is it supposed to end again? I'm totally.
Saturday. Well, I don't know.
Somebody
Saturday
bring
says
that up.
6:30 p.m. or after JC ends. Oh, can I bring him?
So what time does Snyder's panel start?
I think it's 5:30
5:30
till
5:30
time.
Pacific or Eastern.
Everything's Eastern Standard Time, which is
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah,
that's Justin's time. I'm sleeping.
Time zone rivalry going.
yeah.
I'm like all the way in fucking Hawaii.
I know everything's so early in the morning for you, Chris. You're gonna have to wake up super
By
early.
the time my panel is to start, where I talk to Shiraz and Juanita, that's when I wake up. Like, so I'm missing everything from before then. Where is the? I don't. Can't
somebody
find post.
verify that.
Yeah, so I would encourage you to do a vodka stream the night before because I don't think it's not going to be a vodka stream on Saturday night after. I mean, I'm sure people will I'll have a drink or whatever, but it's going to be early enough that it's going to be, I think, maybe a little different vibe.
True.
And so it would be smart to do like a typical vodka stream and then go with like a Film Junkie live panel
Yeah.
approach or something for the next one.
Yeah, you're probably right. You know, maybe I'll have it all. Yeah, I won't have like the dark setting. I'll have the green screen all ready to go. And we'll have it like that. And then, but if you know that certain someone comes on, you know, we'll turn off the lights and get a little romantic with him. You know, it'll be nice. So yeah, that's gonna be of course a lot of fun.
Wait, I think I have it.
You have something to say, Justin?
Yeah, in regard to Snyder, what interests me about Justice Con with the DC Fandom coming out the next month is what is he actually going to say? Like, because this is my impression. Is Justice Con just about Justice League? Or
No.
Hold on,
I think it's
Okay. Hold your response. There you go. Yeah.
But, yeah, so is it just about Justice League? Sorry.
No. It's gonna be, it's just gonna be about him himself. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of talk with him.
I mean, obviously, it's going to be very Snyder centric because it's his fans and like centers around him. But yeah, like if you look at the schedule here,
right.
you see you've got Ray Porter, and so you'll talk about what has he done. I don't know but I imagine it'll cover like what has he done, what's he working on, what's coming up next. Darkseid will get a lot of questions, but obviously his other stuff will too. AFSP, you know, Jay Oliva is working on stuff that's not Justice League. He's got another project with Snyder that's coming up that would be really cool to see. I don't know if they're going to show anything or not, but it'd be awesome to get even just concept art for, you know, or storyboards, right? That's what he does. But he's actually directing, I think, that Norse mythology show, right? Or he's show running it.
Yeah, I think he's show running it. Both producers.
So, I mean, I don't know how far they are with that. He said he gets 3 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah, did you see that?
Damn.
So like on Saturdays is like his day to sleep in and all that stuff.
Yeah. So that I really, really hope we get some of that Norse mythology. Norse mythology.
Is it animated? Is that the one?
Fast.
Yeah, I think they said it.
Animated, Chris.
Yeah.
It's
so I'd
animated.
love to get an idea of what the style of that is going to be because it's going to, like I'm imagining kind of like a more anime style, hand drawn look, not like a Owls of Ga'Hoole kind of look, and that it really entices me with Snyder, and especially knowing like the type of action they did and like Man of Steel, it's very anime inspired, and so if they then take that style that they already do and it translates to animation, that'd be so cool. So yeah, I hope that it'd be awesome to see like a clip or a trailer or something if I have no idea how far along it is, but even just concept art I would love, or just for them to talk about it, just tell us like how are they approaching it, what's the objective, like.
And hopefully, like when it comes to Snyder, somebody's probably going to ask him about Army of the Dead. I mean,
I hope someone does.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to just be about Snyder Cut and Justice League. I mean, someone's probably most likely going to ask him about, and maybe, I mean, and who knows what kind of surprises he's going to bring. Is he going to bring an image? Is he going to bring footage? It's all up in the air right now. But
this is my luck. My luck is I'm not going to watch. He's going to announce something about the Fountainhead on your stream. Unavailable.
That's right. Maybe he'll talk about future projects like the Fountainhead. I mean, hopefully somebody brings that up. That'd be interesting because I'm kind of wondering the status on that.
Or they've got to ask him about Sucker Punch. They started to put together a budget a while back for like what it would cost to get Sucker Punch, the director's cut, finished up. And so it would be awesome to kind of get an update on like what are we waiting on for that? Like, is that something that he's putting effort into, or like what would need to happen in order for that to happen? And
I don't think he's putting any effort into that, is he?
Well, by effort, I mean like, is he asking about it? Is, you know, like with Justice League when he was negotiating other projects, he was using that as leverage.
Yeah.
But like for Sucker Punch, like when's the last time he asked the studio about it? Like, is that something he keeps on getting a no on, or is he just kind of like waiting for the right time? You know, I'm very curious about kind of where that stands.
My impression is it stands where it stood when it was released.
Like I said, I know that during BVS there was some discussion about with the crew about like, let's see what needs to happen to get this done, but they never fully dug in and built a proposal or anything.
Wait, what needs to be done now on that one? Like
there's some visual stuff.
Yeah, it's mainly VFX.
Yeah, I don't know the details, but they shot everything, so it would. I think so. I mean, they might need to do some pickups or something. That would be a nightmare. I imagine they don't need to do pickups on a 10-year-old.
I'm pretty sure everything's shot because it sounded like they screened it with the alternate ending, and it just I don't know how different the editing would be.
Yeah.
So is it only the alternate ending that's the difference between the extended and what?
There's no
would be
narration.
the-
The narration was a studio demand.
Oh.
The opening or the beginning and closing narration was a studio demand, so there's none of that. And he also said it was harder on fanboys, so I'm assuming there's other material that was cut.
Mhm.
But that's why I think it was all just stuff that was cut and then VFX work that's left over. That's what I can piece together from interviews and comments from Larry Fong.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
the big thing is the ending. The ending is so different. Like the ending is another musical number. We're all
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Asians.
That's right, Larry. That's what Larry said.
playing
Yeah.
the movie so differently.
Well, the addition of and what's the name of the song now? Love. What's the musical in the extended cut? Love is a Drug.
Oh, Love is a Drug. Yeah.
They that's such a tonal, like that changes so much about the way the movie plays because the theatrical cut takes itself, not that the extended doesn't take itself seriously, but it adds a little bit of enough of a wink to the camera to like it knows it's meta. It makes it into a musical.
Mm-hmm. That musical number between,
exactly, which totally changes because it does play a little bit corny. I think I don't know if Justin would agree with that or not, but I feel like there's elements of it that very much kind of lean into a not campy, but like it's a little fanciful or it's not necessarily like hard and gritty. And when you cut all of that out, you get like the try hard grimdark stuff that people critique him for. When when you get the extended cut, you start throwing in the musical numbers and other stuff like that. And so if there was even more musical numbers in there, that really, really shifts up the tone of what they're doing with the movie in a lot of ways that I think would not only play better, but like the question then also is like, what's the content? Like, what are they going after? So yeah, I'm very curious.
Even your point is well taken because what it does is it really points to the idea that you're not meant to take this movie as real. Because if you take the movie as real and literal, then you're just kind of like, what the hell is this? Like these girls are fighting steampunk zombies and stuff. But when you see that scene and you see, obviously this is an over-the-top musical, and then the thematic content as well, right? The whole idea that love is a drug and what's driving all of the corruption in this movie. Dave talked about this on the stream we did.
Yeah.
The whole idea that seeing love as a drug and seeing lust as a drug rather than approaching it rationally. And it's similar with this, the final song. Isn't the final song "Everything's Gonna Be All Right"? Isn't that what she was gonna sing?
I have no idea.
She said it in an interview somewhere, so it's published. I know she also sang Emily Browning sang "Sweet Dreams."
That's
Dreams.
The opening song for the opening scene is "Sweet Dreams," but it's Emily Browning actually singing the song.
Singing it? Wow.
Yeah, it's a good rendition of that song, and I didn't know until I watched it with Justin. There's a lot of things I didn't know about Sucker Punch until I watched it with Justin, and now I see nothing but penises everywhere. When I'm like other movies,
phallic symbol,
penis imagery everywhere. Everything's full of dicks. I mean, like my television has the Google Chromecast. It's New York City. There's a big penis in the middle of it. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't trying to make you think in the postmodern sense where there's unintentional dicks everywhere because our society's based on patriarchy. No.
Look at all your microphones. They're penises.
Right. Yes. In that movie, there's intentional phallic symbols. That's different.
Look at this thing. Jeez.
Look at this thing.
I don't know what if I should do.
And our mouth is over it now.
Exactly. You're getting a little too close to it there, Swenson.
I mean, I don't have a mic right now.
I know, exactly.
I know.
Yeah, you notice that? Like, Justin's the only one that does not have a mic.
I'm clearly the one who's most secure in my manhood.
Release the phallic cut, Jose says.
Release the phallic cut.
Already phallic. How can you have a more phallic cut?
Anyways, all right, let's get off the whole penis talk. Let's address like a little bit of the elephant in the room that happened this week. What are you guys' thoughts about the little leak that happened? Earlier, or what was it? A couple days? I don't even remember. It's fucking everything bled together this past week. But yeah, what's your guys' thoughts?
No,
was it Thursday or was it? No, it was Thursday, right? Because it feels weird because
Thursday?
Normally we do this.
No, yesterday was Friday.
Yeah,
it was Thursday.
Who cares?
Was it Thursday?
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I thought it was Friday for a second.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
have
it
no
is Saturday.
time though because they
it
keep
is Saturday.
school back, so I don't know what day of the week it ever is.
But yeah, what's your thoughts, Swinton? Good,
so
good.
much. It caused another divide, that's for sure.
It
On
definitely
the
did.
internet, it really did. Just in terms of the debate, I think the debate here is between what people are like saying, well, that's not a spoiler, or that is a spoiler,
The
and then
debate is
the other,
always
and
frustrating.
but what you guys are saying is like, well, but they shouldn't have put it out because that's not something that's needed to come out, or it's the cut is coming. It's
Yeah.
like, why are we, having this stuff out? So it's like, man, on top of that and all the other drama, I am just like, can we just get to Justice Con safely?
Like a week away. What do you say, Steven?
Yeah, man.
I think you nailed a lot of it in your video, and that's probably gonna be more cogent than anything I say about it. So if anyone watching hasn't seen Dave's kind of breakdown of it, I would go watch that. I was very frustrated, I think, with the discussion that was had around it, because it seemed like it was a debate over whether or not it was a spoiler was the biggest thing that people were talking about, and that has nothing to do. I don't say there are people that considered it a spoiler, and well, there's so much context that's needed because it's from the original script, and so we don't know for sure if this is going to end up at the end of the movie or not. Even if it does, it's not necessarily anything that we haven't heard before, except for the fact that it would, if it were what we were getting in the movie, it would explicitly confirm like one of the last shots of the movie, which kind of deflates. Like, so if you're concerned about spoilers, like so much of this movie is spoiled, but we still also don't know a ton about it. What's the opening shot? What's the closing shot? How does this stuff play out? And there was a period during the coverage of the movie where like spoilers were like a good thing because it would get people to talk about it. Like, imagine if we didn't, if like the people were comparing it to the Ascended Agent leaks, for example, which is a whole nother deal. That went to court. Someone got in trouble for leaking those. That was a illegal thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And so are we comparing it? Are we okay with one and not for the other? So with the Ascended Agent leaks, I'll say that was illegal. In terms of whether or not it was a good or a bad thing, it did get people talking about the cut early on and gave credence to the idea of like, no, there is stuff, and it's not just like cut moments; it's like entire cut arcs, and so it's beneficial to the discussion. And the Darkseid storyboard furthered that. Yes, that's a spoiler that Darkseid was in it, and it may have been. Who knows if he would have revealed that in marketing or not if it had been in there? But it's a spoiler, but it's a discussion point. The Amazon shrine that revealed that Darkseid was in the history lesson, that's another spoiler. And people are confusing, like, this was not publicly available art. This was private. This is something that is the property of the people that created it. All these other storyboards, or not storyboards, all these other the concept art and stuff that's leaked recently, or like Garza always gets brought up in these conversations, but that's all stuff that he dug up online on other people's portfolios or was given explicit permission to publish. And so
Garza.
So
the murals,
like the murals.
Oh, the murals. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Even people were comparing it
about
to
that.
like that Carrie Kelly art from the other day. Like that was posted to the guy. Jim Lee. It was drawn by Jim Lee, and Jim Lee did not release it. Right. It was for Zack Snyder's movie, and Zack Snyder didn't release it. And maybe there was a point in time where this would have driven discussion that was needed in order to get traction for the movie, but the movie's coming. And so now at this point, it is a potential spoiler for a movie that it doesn't have a release date, but it is in production now, right? Which very much changes the context versus any of those other things that we're talking about. And so, but that's not even the point. Whether or not there are people that have arguments about that and are upset about it being a spoiler, and it didn't spoil anything for me. I don't think it's a huge spoiler compared to what we know, but people should have the option to not like I think they flagged it as a potential spoiler, but like the thumbnail had the part of the image in it. So
it was deleted before I even woke up.
yeah. So when it comes
to being so far back in time,
whether it is or isn't a spoiler isn't even the point. But,
Yeah.
but obviously, some people did, and some people reacted very strongly, considering like thinking that it was. And if it was a spoiler, it was not spoiler tagged correctly. It was it shouldn't have been put out if it was that big of a spoiler. And then there's the fact that there's a number of people who were aware of this before. Many of them spoke out saying that it was not supposed to be published. They were not given permission to publish it. And this is a hard conversation to have because I'm not going to, unless I get permission, I'm not going to put out the original version to prove that theirs isn't the original.
Yeah.
But it's super low resolution. Like I think people are commenting on how like if you pull it up, it's a super low res image. Which means it's obvious that it was like screenshot from a chat or something. It's not the original file. So however they got it, it was it's not the original image, meaning they didn't get it from a source. And that's a word that's always like people talk about the word source and they just mean like somebody told me. Like a source is who has some degree of separation from what we're talking about. So it would be like for something like this, it would be the person, or it would be a person who worked in art on the movie, who is in possession of it, or someone from the crew that has like a direct, like they had part of their job was to interact with this and they can tell you the history of it and why it exists and where it came from. That's a source. If they give it to somebody and then that person gives it to someone else, that middleman is not a source. That middleman is just like a leaker or whatever. And so people throw around the word source. And it was also like multiple sources. And I've seen stories a lot of times that marked as like multiple. Like remember when a while back it came out that Rian Johnson was leaving. He wasn't going to make his Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
And the site that broke that cited multiple media sources or whatever. And what it turned out, there's been rumors for a long time that that's happening, but nobody has reported on it because it's not a done deal. It's not solid. It's just rumors going around. But the site that did that talked to multiple people in media who all said, yes, I've heard that this is a thing that is going on right now. And so they took that as sources independently verified. It's like, well, no, they're not. None of those people are involved in contract negotiations. None of those people work at Lucasfilm in those positions. They are not. It doesn't matter if you get 100 people who are all in the media who all say, yes, I heard this rumor. None of them are a source. No, that doesn't mean it's not a rumor, but you can't then go
it's
and
like the word on the street, kind of thing.
Source. And so when it comes to something like this, it's being dropped and it does not come from the original source, and you can tell because of the resolution. And then also once people started complaining, it got pulled down, and the initial claim was it got pulled down by request. And then after that, yeah, they said it was requested that it was taken down
by people, not the commenters. It was
they said not from Twitter commenters.
Yeah.
And then and so I pointed that out, and then the response, which means that like, so you didn't have permission. That admits that you didn't have permission if you're saying you were asked to take it down.
Oh, that's contradicting.
Which one is it? Did you have permission or did you not?
Right. Well, because then the follow up to that was, I guess it was a stream. Someone sent me a clip from that where they said no, we were not. They said we were not given instructions to not publish it, which first of all is not confirmation. It's not permission. It's just no one didn't like you if you're a journalist of any kind, your job is to like confirm that stuff before you put it out. You don't even know what it is. How do you know Jim Lee drew it? I knew Jim Lee drew it because the person that told me knows, right? Yeah. The person that showed me knows Jim Lee drew it, and I know that because they worked with them on it. Mm-hmm. This is not the original copy of the image. How do they know? Like, what? And there was nothing in the article about how they knew that. They just said it was. They said they reached out to Jim Lee, but there was no comment yet. So you published it ahead of time. You don't even know what it is because you're putting it out there without any kind of sourcing or permission.
They reached out to Jim Lee.
Well, they said we've reached. I don't remember what it said in the article now, so I can't double check.
Twitter. I didn't read that.
But it said we reached out to Jim Lee or Jim Lee's representative or something. They reached out about it, and there has been no comment. Which fine. And so, but then the follow up was like, so we didn't have permission, or we weren't told not to publish it. Which well, that's that doesn't mean you do have permission. That just means like I've seen a million things that I don't say anything about until A, I've confirmed it more than once, and B, I have permission to like explicit, like, yes, this is intended for you to put out there. And even then, unless there's a lot of that, scooping is a weird thing. It's like I feel like there's a reputation of like people assume that like I'm a scooper or Dave's a scooper or even Garza is like a scooper.
Yeah, Steven, what's that website you work for?
Scoopingrant.com. Take a drink.
Take a drink.
I've published I've been writing there for almost 5 years, 4.5 years. And I heavily covered all the Justice League stuff and had a lot of behind the scenes information. I published 3 articles that ever were labeled as an exclusive ever, maybe, and they all came from direct interviews with a named source. aka I didn't have to say sources close to production. I said, here's an interview with Junkee XL, here's an interview with Damon Caro, here's an interview with Eunice Huddart, all saying things about the movie, right? That's an exclusive. There were other times that I had information that could just be used to interpret information for my own, like for like educational purposes. And so I could include the information in the article, but I couldn't say, but I was not given permission to cite it, to say a source says. I could just like use logic to reverse engineer the details. Or like, for example, we found out that that Justice League was a 5-part thing with included a Justice League trilogy, and that was something people didn't necessarily know it was 5-part. But then when they did, they didn't know what the 5 parts were. They were trying to guess what's number 5. And so we found out it was Justice League trilogy, but you couldn't cite that. Well, it turns out there was a rumor previously that it was. So I was able to write an article about like, oh, this is probably what it was because this was circulating around the time of production, etc. Anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with this, just because it's such a long, like, obviously it's a complicated process, and like the way this was put out.
Well, your process of when you get that information. Oh.
Yeah, well, that's what I brought up in my video too. Is like when we leaked out the dark side. I mean, when I knew that, okay, I was told Zack Snyder wants this out. Can you get it out there without tracing it back? I'm like, okay. So I thought, how do I do this? So I contacted Fiona, and we're going to put it on her website anonymously, and then we're going to link it to that. I'm going to make a video, and then I told Steven, I'm like, hey, I got this. But Steven did his due diligence. What you're supposed to do, he contacted Zack Snyder's people. Make sure. So
yeah, I knew where I trust you. I knew exactly where you got it from. And I knew that it was legitimate, but we still contacted Zack Snyder's people to confirm that it was that it was made by him, that it was for the movie, and they were able to confirm that. And I mentioned that in my article. I said it has been confirmed that this is, even though I knew, because we're not going to put something out there that we don't understand or that shouldn't be out there or that's going to get us in trouble with the studio. So anyway, so there ended up being 3 different explanations. First, it was we were asked to take it down, and then they said, well, no, we were asked to take it down by the site. But who's we then? We would be editors. The site. And so you say we were asked to take it down, and you say no, we were asked to take it down by the site. Well, no, that would be you were asked to take it down, and then it was, well, we weren't told not to publish it, so you shouldn't have published it unless you were told yes. And they said, well, no, we were given permission. But like, who are you given permission by? Because once again, you don't have the official image. You have a bad screenshot of the original image. So the person that gave that bad screenshot, like they're not they don't have the authority to grant that permission. And it wouldn't be such a big deal if it was just like some random leak. But this is something that multiple people have been sitting on for years out of a request to not
release it.
And so, like I said, there's just a lot of weird and frustrating context. And then like the part that makes it even more frustrating is this comes from a source who parades around the notion of this is not for clout, it's not for clicks. It's don't click on that other guy because they're just doing it for clicks. Click on us instead. It's like, no, everyone like yes, like clickbait can be a problem, and doing things for clout can be a problem. But like, what does that even mean? Like you're not making this for nobody to watch. Like, Dave, if the viewers said 0 right now, would we be doing something else, right? Like, we broadcasting it, like, what, you don't. You're making stuff to put it out there. Like, people need to stop lying about this. Like, we don't do it for clout, or like, we don't monetize. It's like, well, I got news for you. Your site isn't big enough to monetize. That's not bragging about anything.
I like the one thing I like.
That's not an insult. It's just a fact. Like it's hard to monetize content.
Yes.
You need to get a lot of. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you hit the funny vein on that on Justin. No, I mean, we brushed about it at the beginning when it was just Justin and I talking about that. There's nothing wrong with building your audience and doing something.
All the work.
But the one thing that's
money for it. I'm sure the writers for if you have writers that are going to do hard work deserve to be paid, which means you deserve to monetize your content.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talked about this because I wanted to preface and use that as a preface for my book because people could call me a clout chaser.
Yeah.
My book, and because I'm going to try and sell it. And I the difference is a concept in the Fountainhead, which is second-handed. Are you doing it because you really want to do it and you care about it, or are you doing it just as an excuse to make money?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the fact that this comes on the after like several, like I've stayed out of. Like, and I think also for context, there's been a lot of drama about this particular site, and even now I'm avoiding like saying the names. Like, the point here is not to like drag anybody or take anyone down. I'm just very disappointed in the way it was handled. And I had not chimed in on it. People had asked me, they'd said like, have you heard anything about Ben Affleck? And I just say no, because I haven't. I mean, they're
little.
No, I'll just stop there. Like, I haven't heard anything that I could report on that would confirm or deny that.
Even Meg, she's a clout chaser. Cancel Justice Con. We're already canceling it.
But
someone said CloudCon right there.
A lot of like Dave said, the scooping game is messy, and I can tell you like for a fact that most blog sites that aren't like a trade or aren't like one of the bigger pages. Most of that stuff comes from like 2 or 3 different that are just like in group DMs, like sharing everything. Like,
that's what I was saying too. Like,
isn't special information, and so this comes on the heels of the site has been criticized for saying stuff. Which, by the way, we've been saying on the Vodka stream for months that Affleck could easily get a series, that Cyborg could get a series, that Suicide Squad is the next logical step, etc. It's no different language than we've been using. The difference is they slapped exclusive on it and they said we have sources confirming this. But it doesn't. These things don't happen in a vacuum, and other people would know. It's not like you're granted special access that nobody else has access to. And then the claim comes like, well, they just don't want to confirm it because they're petty, or well, we just know it before everyone else. Well, like for example, there was the Ray Fisher scoop that the same place had a while back about Ray Fisher being in the Flash. That's been known. There's a casting grid. We've known about that since December. Like, that is in no way close. There is an official casting grid that's been going around since.
Rumors Justice League or during Justice League, they were going to put Ray Fisher in the Flash movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Deborah talked.
Deborah said that.
Casting grid is even more. But that shows.
Dustin knows it then.
So they said that, but then also this casting grid is going around. That is, it was claimed that it was fake, but it wasn't. It's a real casting grid, which indicates an intent to cast, and it also included Nightmare Batman on it. Now, lots of people knew about that, but nobody reported on it. Now, meanwhile, these people who didn't know about that rumor were accusing all of those same people who were sitting on this pretty big news for a long time, waiting for it to be properly confirmed, waiting for more information to happen, waiting for it to change from like the casting grid. It'll say like Ray Fisher interested, Ray Fisher in talks, etc.
Yeah.
And so we're waiting on like what's the next step. And then once a new information comes out that says like, oh, he's been approached, or Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in talks, well, then you can talk about it. And so these people that are being accused by this same site of being clout chasers and just caring only about being first to the game have been sitting on this news for months, and then they jump on it, and their source it turns out is a screenshot that's translated that isn't even purely. There was a fan asked one of the producers, like they said, don't forget about Ray Fisher, and they said sure thing or whatever. Which is
that was the sister or something.
Yeah, and people get upset about like the word confirmation. Like, that's not confirmation. That is like, that might be interesting to report, but like that's not like uber super exclusive Ray Fisher confirmed for whatever. It just says like the news there is the Flash producer supports fan demands for Ray Fisher Cyborg in the Flash or whatever. Like that's the news there. That's not
Possibly where
the Flash is in the movie. And so anyway, so when people start claiming like we don't do this for clout, we don't do this for clicks, like nobody or not very few people are out there just like making up scoops, trying to like put together clicks by totally fabricating stuff or by rushing information out before it's vetted. People sit on this stuff for a long time. Just because you don't know about it or you don't hear about it doesn't mean that these other people who are only in it for clout don't know anything about it. So anyway, it's very disappointing and very frustrating. And then also very frustrating to say like, this is not supposed to be out there. Do your due diligence next time. Yeah. And don't just get some, because people were attacking their credibility. And so when this arrives at the moment people are attacking your credibility and it's shoddily sourced with minimal context and as a spoiler, to me that reads very much as, look at us, here's proof that we have connections. Anybody of the people who actually have the image can vouch for this. That's not the original image. You're not proving anything. Maybe to the fans that you're taking advantage of by trying to say like, look, here's proof that we know Jim Lee or whoever you want to pretend you got it from. But you got it from another fan. Like someone showed someone they shouldn't have, and they got screenshotted, and they showed it to someone else, and then you weren't told don't publish this, so you published it, and then you took it down, and like you blinked, and now what are you gonna like? It's just I don't know. I'm gonna let someone else talk for a minute.
Well, before you went, you were gonna. Before the second rant, I was just gonna say when you talked about clickbait and stuff, and someone just said that right because I was thinking Naaman Gidwani, emergency awesome. One thing I liked about Dave's channel in the headlines, you look at emergency awesomes ones right now, and it's like exclusive scene breaking, a scene from
I used to
what was it, Batman, and I'm like, what? That's not a scene. That's a Boss Logic. Drawing or things like that, and it's amazing. There's that much people. You click on it, and there's even scenes from like Chris Dawson's Black Suit edition. They stole his stuff, and that part is like, wow, that is blatant clickbait, trying to get more views and clicks on that. And that's the difference between like you and that guy, you know.
Oh, no, you got to be very careful with these headlines. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's what I try to do as well. I mean, you could watch there's so many different fucking websites, blogs, articles, and videos to tell you how to do like a perfect website when it comes to keywording and all that, and the SEO and everything. You could find all of that stuff, but you just really got to be legitimate to what you have in your video. And then of course you have to have those. Sometimes I'll like sit half an hour and go like, what the fuck am I going to title this? What do I do? What's gonna where it's not too clickbaity and I'm gonna get, it's gonna be good for Google SEO.
Especially in this community, people are so sensitive to the clickbait that gets called out. Like the Snyder community, it's always, they say it's the negative stuff is just for clicks. And that might be true in certain contexts, and negativity sells news. And I know that that's like a mantra that people have always said. As someone who, I guess this isn't widely accepted, but who has written a lot of positive Snyder content,
widely accepted.
Positivity gets plenty of. What's funny? So like negativity sells clicks. Like, you're just writing positive stuff for clicks, and it's like, well,
which is it?
Positivity sells too, and like I said, especially in this community, like you say something like, oh, the Snyder Cut is gonna, VFX are gonna cost money, and everyone's like, all of a sudden, like a Hollywood accountant, and they're like, no, it's all done, and here's how we know. And then someone is like, oh, hey, I heard that the Snyder Cut is 100% done, and like no scrutiny. Everyone's just like, yeah, let's go with that.
Can I talk about that a little bit? About how, so when that came out, when Garza put out that article, and I kind of covered it, I admittedly was also a little upset, but that's me being a fan, because that's like, oh man, that means it's not come out and stuff like that. But I remember reacting to that saying, I think the message here is that we have to make more noise. Yeah, we have to make more noise. We have to get out of this bubble and find a way to make more noise.
Yeah.
Instead of attacking Garza, I was trying to say do that, right?
Attacking guard.
Right.
His partner in here. You can,
Hey,
and
You know,
all you want.
he's on.
what's going on, guys?
Recognize it. Who are you? You're not. Where's your glasses?
Yeah.
But
I don't have.
Yeah,
I
that
can't
was-
find my glasses. I don't
oh,
want to
you
go back.
can't. Oh no.
Yeah, it's like a big. As long as I can hear you, we're good. Because
Yeah.
you guys are like a big blur right now.
You've got your little
You're a
voice.
big blur. You
Yeah.
can't read comments. There you go. Someone say
No, I
something.
can't.
You got your Barry White going on again. Your Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
What was that again?
Your Barry Manilow going on again.
Do I? Hold on one
Yeah.
second.
What? You're Barry White.
Hello.
Yeah, Barry.
Barry.
Thank you.
Barry White, not Barry Manilow.
I said
Yeah.
Barry White first, and I said Barry Manilow, and then I'm like, someone said it's Colbert pre-drunk. And I'm like, no, but maybe I should say I was.
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah.
How about now? Did that fix it?
Oh yeah, there you go. Now that's
Someone else said
okay.
I should be a lawyer too, though. So I don't really
Yeah,
know
yeah.
how I'm coming off now.
You had an exchange of like good comment right after like lined up right there. It's like, oh, he's pre-drunk. Hey, he should be a lawyer. Which one is it?
And I think that you
Pre-drunk lawyer.
assessed
I
this.
mean, to be fair, lawyers drunk. I mean,
True. Yeah, I'm a drunk lawyer. But Dave could attest to this also. But as like I understand what it's like to have your credibility under attack, and I understand, especially when it comes to this image, the desire to put it out to like absolve yourself, right? Of like, hey, check it out. I have some kind of idea of what's going on. Otherwise, how did I get this? Like, I get that because I like could have also put this out. Other people could have put it out to say the same thing, right? To like absolve you of all your credibility sins. It wouldn't have worked because people they're it's just confirmation bias in the first place anyway. But like, I get the temptation, but people need to stop fighting over credibility. Someone's always going to say that you're wrong. And like, I realize that like, yes, Ben, this applies to Garza too. And I've told him this. He's going to do what he's going to do. We're friends, whatever.
He's not here.
So like,
He's watching. I'm sure he's watching.
people are going to say you're wrong. And you can't, unless you have like the movie, like if you're talking about the Snyder Cut, unless you have like the movie to be like, no, here it is. And here I'm right. And here I'm wrong. Or like, unless you have like Zack Snyder, unless you have an interview with the person like on video and they're saying, no,
Right.
He's right about this. You're never going to prove that you're right if you have like, especially when it comes to like an exclusive. If you say sources say X, sources say Y, whatever. Fighting and arguing over the credibility, like unless you are able to say, here's my source, here's my proof that they're actually my source, here's my proof that they gave me this information, which is like why I don't run exclusives. I just, unless I've got an interview with the person, you have to just wait it out. If you put information out there, it is a waste of time to argue about how true or false it is for anything other than fun. If you're having fun debating the authenticity of it, great. But if whatever you write in your article doesn't stand on its own as a, put this in a time capsule, let's pull it out whenever I say this is going to happen, let's pull it out then and see how right I was. Anything else is just posturing and noise. And if you're someone that wants to be taken seriously at any kind of journalism or scooping of any kind, you got to just let it go.
Yeah.
And the temptation to put stuff out like this to like clear your name or whatever it is you're trying to do, you can't make it be about proving to people that you're right. Your track record, if you are honest, if you have integrity, if you're doing your due diligence, you'll be fine. And I've never been worried about any of the stuff that I've ever reported because I know it'll be okay. And it's panned out well so far and it's going to continue to pan out in the future. I don't need to get in fights with people on the internet about whether or not I'm right or wrong, unless I'm able to say, here's the quote. I have the quote right here. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Just like if it's a scoop, you're not going to prove it right or wrong until it happens. And so stop trying to, nobody's like, if like with Ben Affleck coming back as Batman, that could fall, like, let's even say it's true and it falls apart. Well, then, but nobody's ever going to know it. Right. Like there's stop trying to force people to say you're right just because you say something. You got to sit it out. It happens. Then you can say, hey, we were right. If it never happens, people are going to give you shit over it. And you just got to deal with it.
Right. I feel like a lot of scoopers, they do suffer from the same disease. I gotta be wrong. You got it. What I said was correct. What I said was right. I broke it first. Every scooper does that. I mean, from Scoopy Pants all the way to Garza's girlfriend. What's her name? Grace.
That's where he is right now. Oh my God.
Yeah, they're together right now. Yeah, so they
Wait, is
all.
he on Grace's show or something? Like,
No,
No,
just,
it's an inside
It's
joke.
an inside joke.
well, that was a joke in the chat, but then Chris said it, and like, Chris,
Yeah.
yeah, we have a feeling that yeah. Garza's carrying Grace's baby. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like they all suffer from the same disease of I gotta be right, because I think that you don't get too many strikes when you are a scooper. If you're proven,
even if you're right 70% of the time, people are going to remember the 30%.
exactly because that's
90%.
they weight your credibility based on how wrong you are. Because if you're wrong, like you said, 25% of the time, you are not a reliable source.
It all boils down to whether or not people like you or not.
That's
Grace has her fans. It's Grace Randolph is a coin flip. I personally think it's intentionally so, because she knows 50% of the time, and then she goes out on a limb the other 50% of the time, knowing that the times that she's right makes people have to take her seriously. And so she has really passionate defenders, very similar to Snyder, because you've got this polarizing, like, well, she was right this half of the time. You got to wait to see it play out. And so if Grace says something, is it true or is it not?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a coin flip. But every time she opens her mouth, people line up. She's right. She's wrong. And they fight about it. And it's not based about the credibility or anything about the scoop. It's all based around what they think of her outside of this story.
100%.
This is not limited to the nerd entertainment community. I mean, how many scoopers are there in the news where they always say sources say, like, who? And like half the time their sources are never proven, or half the time they make shit up and they publish a retraction on page 7. This is the culture right now.
It's a weird game too, because it turns into a 4-letter word. I mean, how many times have I said, "Well, I got a source too," and it's like, but I can't say who it is and where it's coming from. I can't. All I could do is like, I mean, I hate the scooping game. Like I said, a long time, a while ago, when leaks came out, like for trailers and stuff, I was all about it. I wanted to be the first to get it out there, put it out there. And I realized how slimy that was. I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be the opinion guy. I want people to show up and listen to, like, what do I have to say about this thing? And I love the fact that I've reached that point to where, like, when something happens, people are looking forward to my live stream or my video about that certain thing. So and
you're not incriminating yourself.
No,
so, like, when you say something, people tag you all the time to be like, "Hey, Dave, is this true?" And you'll honestly say, "I don't know," or "I'm hearing that," or "I've heard it both ways." And so, because they know that you're not someone who just covers everything, they know that you don't talk about it unless you know about it, and you have established that reputation.
Adam Schefter, someone said in the chat.
Thing.
I like to give out my opinion on the Film Junkee channel on YouTube. Cheers. Are we not playing this drinking game?
Oh yes, I forgot. Oh, sorry,
I almost forgot.
It's usually Scott is the one that like.
All
right, take a shot.
Yeah,
he's not here. Scott's kind of a buzzkill without Scott.
Yeah. Scott has friends. He's hanging out with friends tonight. So
I thought we were his friends. What the fuck?
I know.
But it's okay. You know what? We got somebody in his place. We got Matt from fucking Comic Movie Marks showing up.
Hey! All right. Now
what's
it's
going on, Matt?
That was so fast. I barely clicked on this damn thing.
You came in at the perfect moment, man. Usually you have to wait until Colbert starts talking.
Yeah. Is that the Scorsese shot?
Someone started a timer. I don't know how long it is.
Is that the Scorsese shot?
You're killing my joke. Hold on. You're killing my joke. I definitely do come at the perfect time. There we go. All right. There we go. Now I got mine. Peace out, guys. All right.
I was holding off on a dirty joke too, and he goes and says that.
Oh man,
on,
I got
Matt?
I got the mood lighting and shit.
Yeah, you definitely have mood lighting going on.
I got Gerber.
Yeah.
I got fucking. I don't even know how to work that shit. Never mind. Fucking screw it.
Is that a BBS hat?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see
Oh wait, shit. I'm not wearing it right.
Is that the Scorsese shirt? Is that the Martin Scorsese shirt?
Yes, it is.
The Marvel.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the Martin
Yes.
Scorsese shirt.
Awesome. Love that one. That's cool.
Well, you
That's
just went
dope.
at the right time, man. We were talking about, of course, the leak that came out. I'm curious to hear what your opinion about that storyboard and everything. I don't even. Did you guys cover that on your channel? Probably.
Oh fuck no.
Hey, what's the channel again? What's the channel again?
Yeah.
Comic movie marks.
I don't have my mug this week. I'm sorry, Dave. You need
No.
to get me a Film Junkie mug. I'll plug you.
See, that's the thing. I need to get a mug.
Mug.
Yeah, I got that idea in my head today. I definitely need to do that.
Where'd you get that idea from?
Yeah.
Not from you, asshole. Anyways, go ahead.
Asshole.
Just kidding. No, but what were your thoughts about the leak?
It's very cool. No, I get all aspects actually. I get where Colbert's coming from. I get where the it's a spoiler crowd comes from. I get the crowd that says, who gives a shit, we're getting the movie anyway. I kind of get all aspects of it, and I understand exactly where Steven's coming from, because you get information, you get told how this information should be released and or not released, and then somebody kind of comes out there with a kind of shoddy version compared to yours, and then just for whatever reason, who knows at this point, because we're getting the movie, so why release this certain image at this point in time is kind of odd. And then they immediately have to retract it, means that you did something, you pulled an oopsie, and you weren't supposed to do that. So I don't know. I mean, I get what those guys were kind of trying to do. You know, you're trying to put yourself on the map, and that's what you got to do sometimes.
Oh, wait,
when you do it in that fashion, is it worth it?
And doing it well out of the other side of your mouth, you're claiming that like you're not doing it for clout. You're not doing it for be patient and wait for your stuff to pan out. If these other scoops that you've got pan out, you're gold. Like you don't incriminate yourself
you're
while
building
you're
your own clout.
Yeah.
Don't incriminate yourself while you wait for the other stuff to pull out. And like that's why I haven't gone against any of the other stuff. Well, I know I had an argument with Garza about that, or I respectfully declined to comment as much as he was last week. It's very possible that Affleck is coming back. It's very possible that this stuff for Suicide Squad is in the works. And that's why we've been saying it since November.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything about it, and so it's not my place to debunk it or to verify it. Exactly. Yeah. Anytime that somebody asks me, like, how credible is this? How credible is that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like from what I heard, I'm like, I don't know that there's been pen to paper when it comes to Ben Affleck. As far as I could tell, they're still waiting on him. That's what when it comes to the Ayer cut, people are like, oh, it's already in development. It's already well in development. They're already doing it. I'm like, well, according to what I've heard, it's not. It's on its way to be, it sounds like. And it's like it's only a matter of time. And I guess after the 20th, we're definitely going to be hearing about that. But
yeah, which I'd like to transition to that as a new topic. We don't need to spend all night on this.
That's the next part that was going to be.
Hold on.
What?
The whole Affleck thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's shooting anything anyway. Why are people? There's a fucking pandemic. Like,
well, everyone's got to get their pieces on the board so that when it it plays out, like if it does.
Contract written and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the stuff it's like Steven says, it's in the language, because if you really read any of those articles, they are very careful the way that the word anything related to exclusive, there's nothing there that says we know 100% that he's gonna be back. We have the exact sources. The language is very much vague. He could, he would, and he should. Those are the things that I get from those reports. There's nothing concisive about them, and so people read them and they take it as gospel, which is, I'm not gonna say people are stupid, but
it pits fans against each other because, I think that Garza goes a little bit hard on it, and like I said, I've been open with him about that. I'm not trying to talk behind his back here or anything. He knows how I feel about it. I think it's a losing battle unless you have the receipts or the sources to say otherwise. And as far as we know, we haven't heard it, and it's doubtful that this kind of thing goes on, without making more waves in more circles. But the Snyder Cut happened. A lot of people didn't know about that, and so it's not unheard of. But it's if somebody is going to say this, and whether they're gambling on it and hoping he comes back, or whether they actually heard it, you're not going to know until it does come out. And then even at that point, you're not going to be able to prove, were you gambling on it? Or, and that's what's so frustrating about that kind of scoop is someone's going to claim credit for having said, oh, well, we said this, but it's like, well, how did you know? Like I said, we've been talking about this for a while, and we could have easily been like exclusive. We heard this, and then just hope that it happens. And if it doesn't, then you say, oh, it didn't pan out. And like I'm not taking a shot at whether or not any of the reporting on this topic is legitimate or not. Right. It's just that you don't know until you know. And so to come out against something like that, then especially in this community, it is perceived as being against the news. So like with the Snyder Cut, for example, you say the Snyder Cut is going to cost money. I say that because it's the truth, and it's my job to report the truth. And people say like, well, it hurts the narrative. The sources that I talked to who were involved in the movie, who are allied with Zach and wanted his cut out, I said, is all of this beneficial information to getting it out? And they said, yeah, I think the more sunlight shed on this, the better. So to me, the accurate reporting matters here. So if I say the Snyder Cut cost $40 million, and then it comes out, oh, it does cost $40 million, well, then therefore I'm credible in these other areas too, where I say it's worthwhile to come out. It's more done than people think, all those things. Mm-hmm. Even though like I got pushback on it, not because people thought it was wrong, like they said they thought it was wrong, but the real reason they got pushback on it is because people thought that was a attack on the movie. It wasn't good news. People interpret good news as anti-news, or bad news as anti-news. And so to say like, oh, I don't believe that Affleck has his contract yet is perceived as I don't want Affleck back. And fans pit each other against each other that way. They'll say, oh, you don't believe the scoop, therefore you're anti-Affleck. It's like, no, everybody wants him back. We all would love for him to be back.
We all work for Jeff Johns.
So
we gotta
and like I said, I didn't comment on those because like I truthfully don't know as much about it. So I'm not going to put my neck out there. It just so happens like with this image, I know a lot about this image. And so that's why I reacted the way I reacted, is because I happen to know based on the reaction, I know more about it than the source that published it. And that's why I'm frustrated about the situation. And no, I was never going to publish it. So this isn't even about like my scoop being still. There were other people that were upset about it being published too, who were just fans who were never going to publish it either. Like it's got nothing to do with like, oh, I wanted that cloud or I wanted that whatever. It's being frustrated that something that was intended to not be revealed is now being used to prop up somebody's credibility because they can't just be patient enough for their other. Like if your claims are good, you're golden. Just write it out. You have your fans, fine. So I'm gonna stop talking again because
your internet is out on
your internet.
Oh, really?
Was it? Yeah. They're trying to stop you.
We have
Warner Media. Warner Media is like,
they broke the code.
We have somebody from the Cultured Nerd, and it's like, hey, relax, okay? We're just giving out our opinions, and we've been doing this shit for a while. We're not, it's totally fine. I forgot what his name is, Sill or whatever.
Sill's in the chat.
Yeah, it's like we're not trying to cause a fucking battle here. It's all good, all right. We're just
I've been reading the chat, and what I don't get is Sill and Frank are saying you guys don't understand.
Well, yeah,
like there's some other side of the story, and granted, I'm removed over here, right? Because I've been writing a book.
Yeah, you could give your opinion because you're on the
Like to me, I mean, for those who weren't here at the top of the show, it's
no, you're not just listening; you're also commenting. Come on, sorry.
Oh, yeah. You're here. You're part of the 40 Club. Sorry.
He was talking about the chat, but it's to me you have to pay attention to, and Ben said it, the language people are using, and when they're writing articles in certain ways, you can tell who's writing stuff just for attention. And I'm going to be very honest. That I'm probably going to piss some people off, but
here we go.
I very quickly, after the Snyder Cut was announced, saw Lightcast and the Cultured Nerd doing stuff just for the sake of attention, and said, "I am going to ignore these people." And there are many accounts in the Snyder Cut fandom that I ignore because of stuff like that, and none of this surprises me because of that.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's an outside perspective right there, and perfect timing too. Also, we're gonna get another voice, Mr. Scott McClellan's in here.
Hey,
Which were your true friends, and now you're giving us some time?
And like, I don't know.
Dude,
that's why he's
I
at the
was
bottom
eating-
of the chat.
I'm sorry. We were playing BioShock and BioShock Infinite, eating 2-inch steaks, pizza, and drinking beer. I'm sorry.
BioShock and Infinite.
It just happens that way. They
You're
find
not with the length, it's the girth, right?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I don't even know.
I don't know. I was making a joke. How many ounces?
I don't even know. I will.
Uh-oh.
Jumping around.
It's a great freeze frame. Though.
You can look at it. You can look at the steak. You can look at the pizza. You can look at all the things. I documented the evening. It's all there.
Pizza.
All right.
Now wait, this is your what do you call it when like you're a dad of 2 right now, and you are going to be a dad of 3, and so it's like your dad bachelor party.
Basically, it was literally this is the last time I'm going to get to do this with my friends for the foreseeable future. So,
Are you talking about?
Your wife is about to give birth.
All of this, all of
Oh.
this, right now, even my kids are in my own bed right now. I got a picture of it sent to me on Facebook going, oh, so that's because the text just said, honey, when you get home, move the kids out of the bed, put them in their own room.
Well, you came in a perfect spot. We were talking about the storyboard, but I think we've kind of beat it to death. I mean, let's get your 2 cents on the storyboard, Scott.
I'm so, and I saw your video this week, and I know that you said it's not really a spoiler, but in my heart, it kind of is. I mean,
it can be. Yeah.
It can be. I mean,
You haven't been paying attention to like Kevin Smith or even Snyder mentioning stuff in that.
Right. I mean, it's just the fact of when you know the movie's coming out, and the storyboard as identified is basically the last shot of the movie. It's like me seeing the end of 7, so I know what's in the box. And it's like, well, that just sucks. I mean, you enjoyed the movie, but it takes away that punch when you get that ruined for you. And it's just like, and I think the deal is that it was actually like even on the thumbnail image for the article. I think that's the thing. It's like you could say what it is, but don't put the actual like make me have to click on it to actually see what it is. And don't just plaster it all over the timeline. Just because I'm very spoiler averse. I don't want to know things. I like experiencing a book or a movie or a TV show with little to no knowledge, which is stupid considering the podcast I do. I've had enough shit ruined for me over the years, but still, I usually have Tim there to see that stuff and go, don't look at that. You don't want to see that.
There's a Jeff Johns in the chat.
There's a Jeff Johns in the chat. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Ask me where my money is.
spoiler.
I didn't see it. There is a Jeff Johns. Somebody responded to him. Yeah.
What were you saying, Justin?
I'm the same as you about spoilers. Like I consider anything a trailer is a spoiler as far as I'm concerned. It's just a spoiler the studio thinks they need to release in order to get your butt in the seat. So I'm the same way as you. Like I've only seen like one Tenet trailer, I think, and anything else I've seen is incidental because I don't need to see anything else. I know I'm going to see it. The only reason I know about the Justice League stuff is because it's a different situation. But otherwise, I don't want to know. I don't want to I know minimal stuff about Army of the Dead. Like
That's
I
what's
don't
so weird about this whole thing is because it's been so spoilers were a valuable thing for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the climate change. And like I said, that's why I don't even want to necessarily make it about the spoilers because like I don't think there's anything. Well, the one thing that's in it, I don't know if it'd be a spoiler. People would consider it a spoiler to say, so I won't say. But there is text on it that specifies like how and where this particular moment happens in the original script, assuming that's what happens, and that's what people are considering a spoiler. Like not necessarily because there's a lot of questions about how exactly it ends, and so like I said, I was not offended from it from a spoiler sense, and I feel bad because like I know we got people here in the chat. Like this is not my attempt to like take down anyone or.
No.
Or like, and I've been trying to avoid using any particular names and like attack any other other scoops done by the same source. I was just very, very disappointed in the fact that something that had been successfully not leaked, that was not supposed to be leaked. Like there are multiple fans who were very respectful and sat on this for years and were so diligent about not putting it out there. And then the way that it got put out there, and I know people are saying like there's explanations and there's all this, but like none of that was in the article. Like if there are all these explanations, like you shouldn't, if every single time you publish something, you need to then have go out and clarify like details about it. Like why wasn't that listed up front?
Article, yeah.
If you can say where you got it, then say where you got it. If you can, and include all that. If you can't, then say why you can't.
Well, and Stephen, to your point, I mean, so I've heard this argument this week. And I'm following the logic of the arguments that I've heard is, well, hasn't Snyder himself spoiled enough of Zack Snyder's Justice League? And I would go,
that's his right. Oh,
sorry. Well, one, yes, it's him. Well,
the director.
I'm with you, Matt. It's him. And also that was in the, what I would say the BA before announcement.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it
BA brackets, yeah.
It was serving a purpose of keeping the
conversation,
keeping the conversation. Excellent. Yeah. So I'm going kind of like with the conversation that Justin and I were having. I'm just sitting here going, okay, he chose to release that. I'm sure he's being strategic about what he is releasing, knowing that this is not going to ruin the experience for viewers.
He was very meticulous on what he was going to show everybody.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And this seemed like my understanding is this was not supposed to be.
It wasn't
public. So that's, I think, where I don't even know what I've had way too much to drink already before getting on this thing.
You got Scott already.
Oh man.
Yeah. What
podcast
are you on, Scott?
DC Film Squadcast.
There you go.
By the way, I was just on the Squadcast last weekend.
It was a great pleasure to have you on there.
I didn't tell you that one. I think it was very entertaining to listen to. Dave, you brought your flavor, and then you guys kept it down like you always do. It was a great crisis of crossover thing going on.
Definitely.
And can I tell you that your audio was beautiful to listen to?
What can I say? What can I?
I'm being attacked.
It's the phallic mic.
The phallic mic.
Phallic, hey, yours is fatter than mine, Matt. I'm just saying.
This is the girth question Justin was asking earlier.
The girth question.
Fatter than mine. I mean, that's
and a lot of the people that. The other, I think, point similar to what Scott was saying is that this is one of there's a few things of this nature that have been going around. The other big one that people had and were aware of was that the Darkseid mural shot that's in the newest teaser that Zach put out. That was in the shrine.
Josh Whedon? Oh god!
This is the place to be.
That's a very open-ended statement, and you got a lot to be sorry for.
People sat on that one for a year or more until Snyder put it out, and the nature of it was given to people who could be reliable to not put it out there. And
the mural in the short video or whatever.
So the one in the teaser, the shot of Darkseid, he put it out. He said in December or something of 2018. He put out that shot of Darkseid where he said and at the end of the story, Darkseid. That multiple people had that one for a long time.
John.
Sorry. Even it's just funny that that's happening in the chat right now.
And
where's Zack Snyder? He needs to
didn't put it out until Zack's, and so that's how this stuff gets into circulation is that way. And so and so it, I don't know. It's
the thing is, I can kick Joss Whedon out if he distracted you, Steven.
Sorry.
The thing is, with all the other previous leaked stuff or whatever, put out stuff, however it was handled, however you consider it. What that was also doing before the announcement is also distinguishing the fact that Zack Snyder's cut is so significantly different than what we got in the theater. Because then you start showing Darkseid, you start showing Black Suit Superman, you start showing all these concepts. It shows how much WB screwed up and how much they changed. It's not just like an extended cut. It's not just a slightly different director's cut. It's a whole other movie. Exactly.
And maybe this is. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Colbert.
Very good for me to have you on here.
Oh, I'm done. Go ahead. No, okay. So
continue, Matt.
But that's the point. That's when Dave put out the Darkseid storyboards. That shows us that Darkseid is in the movie, or at least at some point he's in the movie. The murals show that Uxas or whatever the hell his goddamn name is before Darkseid, he's in the movie, and it was supposed to be Steppenwolf, or it was Steppenwolf was replacing that Uxas. Whatever CGI mocap person. So it shows how much drastically different it is and how much more worth it is to release it. It's not just something so simple. I think that's the other thing. And that's why those are so meticulously put out throughout time. You know, finding out Ray Porter was Darkseid, those little things without
Martian Manhunter,
Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. To the ancient leak, even though that was, highly illegal to leak that footage. But at the same time, it's like that actually built up this conversation of look at this art, all these arts.
The guy in the chat, like he says he's not like talking, he's just listening, and then he says stuff that doesn't even make sense.
That's what I pointed out. It's the guy from Cultured Nerd. I mean,
I think for some additional context, also, like if this was like something from a Marvel movie, if this was like a shot of, Thanos or whatever, and it was like we got this covered that was putting it out there, it wouldn't be nearly as big of a deal. The problem is that there is a very passionate fandom of people centered around this movie and Zack Snyder, and like entertainment sites leak stuff all the time. Like it's like let's remove all context. It's leaked art from a movie. It happens every day, right?
Yeah, right.
Not a big deal. But if that's the case, like if that's the angle we're approaching this from, then like take the clout, like just put it out, like say yeah, this isn't supposed to be out there. We got a hold of it anyway. We're that super site. Here it is. We're doing this for the clout. Like fine. That's an entirely different situation where like that's frustrating because people sat on this without getting it out there, and it's frustrating. But like to put it out there and then to claim we're like pro Snyder and supportive of Snyder, and we're not doing it for clout, and to do all these things is in contradiction to then also putting this out there as it's out there. And so like you can have it one way or the other. And like I personally, I would have gripes if it was done that way. 'Cause it's like, it's like we got this covered or whoever, but like, it's not as duplicitous looking to me to just take the clout, just like say it's for clout and do it. It's not a big deal.
Hey, who cares, right? If you want to be part of the Scoopy game, build up that audience, build up that credibility.
Yeah,
right. Nothing wrong with that. Let's finally move the conversation over to the fucking Ayer cut. I mean, Scott.
There's that movie.
I'm wearing it, big guy.
Hey, wearing the shirt. Yes.
Let's start talking about that. So obviously. Part of what the thumbnail is all about is on Monday, the 20th, there's a huge push, just like the whole November 17th push for Zack Snyder's Justice League or the Snyder Cut. That's, obviously something big was happening. I mean, I think like a few days before we were hearing stuff like, holy shit, this is the day to do it. Please do it. And it was a huge success. So apparently this is what's happening with the Ayer cut. So that just means that finally it looks like pen is going to hit some paper. And it's a no-brainer, obviously. I mean, once Zack Snyder's Justice League was announced, it was a no-brainer for Suicide Squad because it wasn't going to cost nearly as much to get
pennies on the dollar, based on what Ayer himself has said on social media.
Oh God damn it! There's a Zack Snyder now in the comments.
Yeah, I know. You see them; they're talking to each other. It's nuts. Yeah. It's hilarious.
But the point is, it's. If they're investing the kind of money that it's taking to let Snyder finish his Justice League and all the stuff that apparently that is, encompassing, I mean, all Air said is, I just need some VFX shots finished. It's all in the can. It's all on the hard. It's all on the hard drives. I just need to finish some VFX for the shots you made me change.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, all the Joker scenes, they're all there. I mean, there's so many Joker scenes that we didn't see. There's so many different versions of like certain scenes too that have been cut out that could just easily just be put back in there. It's not the same situation at all.
And don't forget, in like July of 2016, man, can we just get this movie and like move on? This 4 years just like held up and like limbo.
Yeah.
July of 2016, there were dueling cuts being test screened. There's like a month before Suicide Squad was released.
There was multiple cuts.
They had Ayer's cut and they had the Trailer Park cut. It was cut.
I remember
Compromise.
Or sections of it at least were cut by the company that did the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer. And they were showing test audiences, and that was how they determined which version went into theaters, was the one that got the highest test scores, which if you know anything about audience testing, you know how absurd of a
David Sandberg's YouTube video is the best thing about that.
Yeah.
And you know what that is? That's clout chasing, just going with the highest audio score.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Full circle.
There it goes.
Yeah, that whole process is very interesting and weird. I mean, I've heard of. I haven't been to a test screening, but I always hear about it. You know, you watch it and then you have to fill out shit, and it's just like it's such a weird thing.
So, like, the biggest thing you need to know about test screenings is that nobody knows what it is when they show up. You show up and like you know it's for a test screening, but you don't know what it's for. It could be like a hard R horror, or it could be a rated G kids movie. So there's like segmentation at all involved in it, and then they take cumulative scores from everyone and use that to make decisions about the movie. So you could go to Suicide Squad, you don't know who that audience is, and you're getting feedback like, oh, I liked the other one, but like, are those people that are going to go see it?
Yeah.
No, you're adapting the movie based on feedback of people who aren't even interested in the genre or the take.
There's a scene in the director's cut or extended edition of that rom-com Kate and Leopold with Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman that makes fun of that entire process. And it's funny because the scene gets cut from the movie, and like I think even in the commentary, there's some meta jokes about how this scene got cut. It's in a shorter version, and like even the director is making fun of test screenings. That was my first thought I ever think about when it comes to test screenings before Sandberg put out that YouTube video.
Really? Oh my gosh!
It's true that this is an odd process because the majority of people that watch these movies, they don't. What if like 90% of them are not into those type of movies?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
You don't know. You don't.
They're not catering to a certain audience.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
To a test screening, and then anybody who's invited me goes, I'm not sure if it actually is this, but it might be, and I'm like, am I really gonna drive out to fucking Burbank? Like in the dead of traffic for maybe seeing like a movie that I want to see, like Deadpool 2 or something like that.
You're gonna watch rom-com instead.
Yeah, the only thing that's good about it, I know. You see Kate Leopold.
I own it. No shame.
I love Kate and Leopold.
I actually haven't seen it.
You know what? I say like once a week or so. Every single time I touch ketchup for any reason whatsoever, it shake the ketchup bottle, and then it'll come and
The fuck?
Sorry.
He donated for that one.
We have it.
Yes.
Like with pooch.
I feel like I'm in school.
How do we not know it's just one guy with like 3 screens?
I think it is.
Joss Whedon, Zack Snyder.
There's only one guy in the chat. What's interesting to me about this audience screening is that imagine doing this for like any other product, right? Like, okay, we're going to show 3 kinds of chainsaws, and then we're going to have the people who test it tell us which one is the best one. But then the engineers are like, that one's the best one. That one's going to come the best.
Damn.
Why is it in movies? And I know the answer, but why is it in movies, in art, we have this idea of, the audience knows best.
Yeah.
Their job as a company should be, we're going to get the best artist and make sure they create the best product so we can deliver it to you.
Right.
That's what they should be doing. But instead, we have this idea in the society of the tyranny of the audience, where
Right.
you see this all the time. Oh, the audience defines the meaning. The audience defines whether it's good or not. We can't even have objective conversations about if a movie's good or not. That's why you have half these assholes on Twitter going, Zack Snyder is the worst director ever. And assholes like me saying he's the best director ever.
And imagine you took a random sampling of those people and put them in a room and said, what do we need to do to this movie to fix it?
Wow.
Yes.
Right?
that'd
Well,
be-
and
yeah.
I think about like,
all that stuff.
and to Justin's point, what almost also what other form of art does this happen to? I mean, look at books. They send out advanced reader
So
copies, but it's not to change the book. It's just to let some people go ahead and read it to start, posting reviews on Amazon, or they give them to booksellers. So, I remember from my bookseller days, it's so that we can read them. So when the customers come in, we can, hopefully it gets in the hand of the right bookseller that can then start hand selling it. But even that, it's not like they randomly give it. Literally, they open the envelopes, they dump it on the break table, and it's like, if you're interested,
They don't have this kind of test screen audiences for like movies that are going to streaming, right? I mean, essentially, they don't have that type.
About that.
Is it less so?
The way it did, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I think this only happens with movies, because even with music, whenever they put in an album together, you have artists, musicians that come in, listen to the album, and they give their opinions. They give the cliff notes. They don't have like some randoms out of the street. Hey, do you like this music, this album? Like, that's not my genre. It's that's a shitty album. So then are you gonna go back and change the entire album because this individual doesn't like this
Or
music?
Marvel's process, not that, like, I realize that probably most of the people here are going to be less enthusiastic about that, but I think you could say that they have their audience and they nail what that audience wants, right? Our test screening process is it's family and friends test screening. They've got a group of like representative people who they can get on really tight non-disclosure agreements, who see the movies and give feedback during production. And that's what they go off of, and they nail what their audience wants every single time because of that. And they avoid like some of the crazy leaks these other movies have, because they don't go out to this general pool of test screeners. Like if I want something like Justin, for example, you're not like you wanted some feedback on your book. The fact that you sent it to me tells me that like you respect my opinion, and I am the type of reader you would want to have, like, to receive your book.
Feedback.
You're not sending it to like people who would have no interest in this to find out their feedback in, because whatever they think of it has nothing to do with any changes you're going to make. And so that's the thing that Marvel, I think, actually does a really good job at. Even though I don't agree with I don't like a lot of their movies, or I shouldn't say I don't like, but I'm not enthusiastic about them. They nail their audience because they don't solicit opinions from people who aren't going to be interested in it anyway.
Yeah. That's a weird thing to do when you do that. Give it to an audience that don't even care for that. I mean, that's just
and then like
that doesn't make sense.
And back to the whole streaming thing, like do they do test screenings for those? Yeah, I know. Blah, 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 yeah. All of a sudden I want a White Claw though. I don't know why. Freshman right now. No, but when it came to, I guess, like the Irishman, they test screen that because that was going to have like a limited release. Apparently, I was hearing before COVID hit big time that they were going to do a test screening for Army of the Dead. And then shortly after that we were supposed to get a trailer. I don't know if it was all legit. Who knows? Because to me, that sounded like they might have put out a temporary, like a little limited theatrical release for Army of the Dead. I don't know, but I know. I guess we'll see what happens. Well, I guess that could be a good thing if they didn't get the test screening, and it's just like, fuck it, just put it. You're just gonna put it on Netflix, and hopefully it does well, which I think it will, because it's like perfect timing. You're literally gonna have a movie about like a virus spreading or something like that, and zombies, end of the apocalypse shit. I mean, talk about Snyder's always ahead of the fucking curve. Am I right?
He'll be barely behind the curve on this one, but he'll be more ahead of it than anybody. Well, no. I mean, I'm not. Like you're very right. It's disappointing because it's the type of thing where, like, if the timing had just worked out slightly different, it would be, once again, because you see people watching BVS now because it's on like the Ultimate Edition on HBO Max. They're all like, oh wow, this is like weirdly prophetic. he'd be getting that for Army of the Dead too, except for the fact that it's happening after the pandemic instead of before.
And when it comes to the air cut, I even had someone who I was kind of texting with today, and I shared the tweet about Monday, and this person was like, "Okay, I haven't really paid that much attention to Suicide Squad. Is it really that different?" And I said, "Go back and watch that first Comic-Con trailer, and compare it to the movie we got. And if those two things don't explain to you how different what Air was going to shoot for versus what the studio delivered in the theater, I feel like that I have always said since the first episode of DC Film Squadcast."
Oh shit! I gotta refill.
Oh man,
the dangerous part of the show.
Yeah. When we reviewed the Comic-Con trailer, I have always said since that day since 2016 is I still want to see that movie. I want to see the movie that trailer was selling, because that trailer got me excited for that movie. And I wanted the tone and the flavor that trailer was promising. And that's why this renewed talk of the air cut, and I'll be, if as long as I can, I'll be tweeting up a storm on Monday just to help out, because I still want to see that movie and the little tidbits that Air has released. I mean, I saw a couple of things. Thank you, Chris, by the way, because I don't have Instagram, so I've been relying on you today to share with me David Ayer's Instagram. But he's still sharing stuff, and that just tells you that he has that same passion too. And there has been an argument on the network that Ayer got screwed over righteously in a completely different way, because his movie, he was like months away from releasing, and they were now go back and reshoot this. And they made him reshoot it, and then he had to
reaction to test screenings for his movie. Like everything was going along smoothly, and then people reacted poorly to BVS.
It was a reaction to someone else's movie that screwed him over.
We should also adjust this.
It is exactly what happened. What they were saying at the time was that the reshoots were to add jokes. I remember Jai Courtney came out and said, no, we're adding action or something like that. But it was clearly to add jokes, to lighten up the humor, change the tone, adjust things. It was, Suicide Squad got what happened to Superman Lives. They got Batman and Robin almost, because fucking what happened the movie before, it screws over this. So, I'm interested in the air cut. I don't know. There's some things that I would definitely like to see change, because Suicide Squad for me, well, I guess before Justice League, I don't know. Which one would I rather watch, Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad? I don't know. Those both suck ass. But I would definitely like to see what happens with this, because I would want to see a darker tone. And what he's promising with Jared Leto's Joker is that he's being told that it was too dark. Basically, same thing Snyder was being told: too scary, too dark. They love that. They love that description. I wonder if it was the same person. And I'm just curious to see what it actually, how that actually turns out.
Right.
Well, and you look
at one thing
that movie, and it's like disjointed, and the editing is choppy, and it's tonally inconsistent, and like the pop music comes out of nowhere. Like those are
music.
And I love the album. I
mean, that wasn't him, right?
Yeah, I've listened to that album.
More score, please.
So many times. But if you haven't listened to the Stephen Price score, it's out there. Like it was released.
They sold it.
Yeah, I bought it.
Sold it. It's still out there for purchase.
It's in the movie a little bit, but like all the things that people complained about, like I love the pop music. I don't necessarily like the needle drops in the movie though, and where they're presented, and that was one of the things people complained about. And so if you take all the biggest things people complained about, it's all as a result of the reshoots. It's not a Justice League situation where it's like, they removed like a major villain and totally changed the story, and and David Ayer did the reshoots himself, so he was trying to cooperate with the studio.
Right.
But it's the editing is, I assume, cleaner. But it's tonally more consistent. The music is not all these like
poppy
weirdly timed pop needle drops.
To mimic Guardian of the Galaxy kind of thing.
I'm glad that glad that album exists, but like they've released like theme albums before without
Inspired by.
Yeah, I'm happy with like an inspired by album. I love
Back in the day, "Kissed by a Rose on a Grave," "The Seal."
That's a great song. Such a great song.
Yeah,
that album that was inspired by that wasn't all in the movie, right?
I think
It was in the credits.
Yeah,
Credits.
Yeah.
or
Well,
like
listen-
Nickelback was in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, the Spider-Man 2 album.
Nickelback kills Spider-Man.
I love those Transformers. That era, that like 2000
Linkin Park Transformers.
ish, like that area there. Transformers and like Spider-Man all had like.
Spider-Man 2, that album was dope.
Yeah, I loved that stuff.
Yes.
Everything about Spider-Man 2.
Actually, the album for Suicide Squad was very good.
It was on the Spider-Man 2 album.
What was on that album?
Yeah, Yellow Card.
Oh, that's
Was
I had
on.
like Wolf Mother and Yellow Card and
yeah.
The one thing I wish was on the album that you had to buy as its own separate single was when Michael Bublé did his like swinging jazz version of the Spider-Man theme song.
Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
Got
I
him.
remember that.
And it's got the bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
I bought the Bublé album just to get that song. And the funny thing is, connecting all this, what's the rest of the album? Junkee XL remixes of Michael Bublé songs.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah, I know.
interesting.
When somebody mentioned like even
Didn't
in
know
the
that.
extended cut, I mean, one of my favorite scenes. My favorite scene was one of the what David Ayer posted, that concept art of all them in the bar. I'm kind of wondering if there was more to that. I mean, I think I love that scene so much because I love it when characters just dialogue. Everybody's getting to know each other. Backstories happening. There's a lot of levels that are in that scene right there. But one of my favorite
Joker.
scenes in the extended cut is when Harley is chasing him down, and then they have that whole tiff in the street, before she's Harley Quinn. And I just love that whole scene because that is like 100% Ayer nailed that relationship. I just love the dialogue and everything that happens in that.
Also, what he's talking about recently.
That's why I didn't like that movie too much, because I felt not Jared Leto's Joker. I felt like I didn't get enough. Yeah, exactly. I didn't get enough from him to say, okay, that was a good Joker. So I feel like he was cheated out, and HBO Max is becoming like the redemption streaming service for all this.
Redemption Max.
Yeah, Redemption. There you go.
Yes.
And rebrand.
Release the Schumacher cut.
Oh, I know. That's
might as well.
But I'm glad that I'm gonna get to see fleshed out Joker, Jared Leto's Joker, being told.
Him in the golden underwear.
I want to say the ending where he helps or is involved in the final act. I mean, it just felt like he's just gone. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he looked.
I want the burn face because I always love the burn face because that was a Greg Capullo cover from the Snyder Capullo run on Batman. I always wanted to see that inspired. I mean, I remember hunting down that Funko Pop, to have what they call Joker grenade, and it's just like I wanted all those images that were completely cut from the trailer and him being more, and nothing infuriated me more than hearing the stories that one of the test screening things that they changed was turning Harley and Joker's relationship from the abusive relationship that it's always been and always will be into something that became like relationship goals. I'm like, no, nothing about Joker and Harley should be a relationship goal.
Well, even what Ayers has been talking about somewhat recently with how she, or I guess Harley Quinn or whatever, Harley Quinzel, treated Joker beforehand. So the electroshocks were actually kind of revenge of what she did to him, which, I mean, I don't remember Suicide Squad that well, but people were talking about some of the phrasing that now it makes more sense of what he's saying. And I'm like, that makes a lot more sense, how this whole thing that she wasn't a good girl before she got there. She was already a little,
And that fits with her comic book origin, because if you go back and read even Mad Love, no, she's not a good person. She's completely there for the clout and the cred of I was Joker's psychiatrist. Go back and read Mad Love. That's all it's about. She sleeps with professors.
She was there for the clout.
Yeah.
She sleeps with professors. She sleeps with professors to get her psychiatry degree. She goes to Arkham for the purpose of writing a tell-all book on the Joker. Like, that's her entire goal.
Yeah, that was her whole, yeah. And so it's like to get that revenge that we see Joker kind of get that revenge on her. That's what we want to see. You know, we want to see those connected dots.
It's confirmed. Dave wants to see a woman get electrocuted. All right,
I do.
cool.
I'm anti-woman. Yeah.
And the hate that his Joker always got, like, really, I understand like the reactions to, or I don't understand, but I understand that I understand that they exist. That the reactions to
who left?
Who is that?
Chris.
Oh, Chris. Yeah. I accept, that there's criticisms against like the general approach to the character and based on like the first look reveal and everything, but there's so little of him in the movie, and it's clear that like what was left in there was like one-liner, like plot essential kind of stuff. Like they stripped it down to the bare bones. It's so weird for me. Like, and you see this with Justice League too, but people say like, oh, I don't see how more of that can fix it. And like with Justice League, that's just an ignorant thing because it's not about just like some extra scenes. Like we're talking about total reworking. But like with this Joker, to be like, I don't think more of that Joker can fix it. It's like, what do you mean? There's no context for anything he's doing. It's just like, here's a dude acting weird. Enjoy. Yeah. Like, and it's like, well, why is like there's explanations for why he's laying there with a circle of knives around him, and there's an explanation for, why he's doing all of this stuff and why he.
Well, even that scene where they go to the lab and he's got the iPad and everything like that. I mean, it's like there's supposed to be a scene before that where he shows up at this judge's house and shows him a provocative little video, and there's so much like like you said. I mean, it just seems like the Joker is just showing up to places. And
maybe people would still say I don't appreciate the interpretation, but I understand where it was coming from.
Like the damaged fucking forehead.
Yeah. And then it's like maybe more of it would it's not like, oh, this is gonna magically flip everyone on him, but I feel like it's just weird to be so adamant and you're like, nope, no more of that could fix anything.
Hey, he's here. Can you come on? Sorry, my kid tripped on the wire. I was like, took out my internet. My dad's like, what happened to my TV?
Like, now we got Wong. We got Wong at the end of the stream now.
Yeah, we got.
I know. So what were we talking about?
We're just still talking about the haircut.
The haircut.
All the Joker.
Okay.
That hopefully we get to see, that we're going to see. I mean, do you guys think that it's gonna like the revamping of like the bubble wrap soldiers? Are they gonna turn those back into parademons? Do you think
we're gonna have Steppenwolf and the parademons?
Well, they've been working on it for 9 months.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was gonna be my next question. I know they got 9 months to work on it, but is it gonna come out before the Snyder Cut?
Somebody can have to.
I know people have said it shouldn't, but I think it could be finished quicker, and it's technically a prequel, right? So like it ends with that post-credit scene of like shut it down or me and my friends will, right?
Right.
And so it's not, it wasn't supposed to be. Maybe they're, who knows what they're doing, but the Steppenwolf and Parademon stuff was removed. It wasn't like removed late in the game or even in a late script. It was removed from an early script treatment, and then it wasn't even shot. So like the bubble soldiers, for example, that's all practical effects.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that's not people in mocap suits. That is, you can look it up online. They made hundreds of these, or dozens, I guess maybe would be more accurate, costumes that people wore. Like you can't swap that out.
Yeah,
with parademons.
Will this movie come out before Zack Snyder Justice League? Because one thing that I say on the Real Emotion podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, take a drink.
There we go.
Is that this movie is supposed to take place after BVS?
Yeah,
then Justice League comes along. Yeah, so
which makes sense.
Yeah, so and I always. My argument was, when can this movie come out? Can it come out after Zack Snyder Justice League and be confusing to the general audience, or will they make an effort to put it before Zack Snyder?
Well, Ben, to your point, here's the thing that I find the most convincing as far as like a general audience member, or well, not even a general audience member, someone who's not as plugged in. Brent on our network, who is kind of our resident, more sort of Marvel leaning
What
host.
network is that?
The Squadcast Media
really?
Network. There we go.
Right.
Thank God I'm drinking water.
Man,
Oh man.
I have not even plugged my podcast. CBS by the
Dude.
minute.
Yeah, well, but what goes on is that I mean, Brent is someone who got so sick and tired. I mean, he was not a fan of BV. He loves Man of Steel. Was not a fan of BVS, and wasn't a fan of Suicide Squad, and was fine with Justice League. But but it also kind of was more, his flavor anyway. So he was perfectly okay with it.
Right.
He was okay. He was just okay with it. But it's interesting that ever since the announcement comes out, he's like, cool. Now it's coming out. I've muted the hashtag for all these years because I just didn't want to deal with it. It's coming out. Great. Now I'm excited because it's a real thing. And I remember listening to that episode of Fans Without Borders. Not my show, but I'll plug another show in that way.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh,
Where he even said, okay, now I'm hearing this Scuttle Above the Air cut. He even said on the show, it was actually called Takes from the Twilight Zone, because we were like, what the hell's happening? That even Brent went, okay, I want to see it because it makes sense, and it should come out before Zack Snyder's Justice League because it would build up hype, and chronologically it takes place before it.
Exactly.
So here's someone who's not as invested in the DC, in the bubble, in the DCEU as much as he's more invested in the MCU, and even he's saying, I want to see the air cut, and it should come out before Zack Snyder's Justice League because chronologically it takes place before it, and it would be good hype. And Justin, I see you raising your hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're the teacher, Scott.
I just want to add on to that I told my fiance there was more Jared Leto as a Joker, and she wanted to see that. So all you Jared Leto as a Joker.
Don't Joker. No, kidding.
I texted some female friends who were like all about Jared Leto, and I said, "Hey, guess what? Looks like this thing's gonna happen. You're gonna get more Jared Leto Joker," and they're all excited for it. I mean,
Yeah,
and they're gonna participate on Monday too. They're also going to participate.
Justice League, you get Henry Cavill without a jacked up face, and then air cut, you get more Jared Leto Joker. That's going to start.
We all win, right, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
I know we've got a few fake accounts in the chat, but there is an account in there for.
Oh, I hope the Jeff Johns one does a super chat. I want to see. I'm gonna screenshot the shit out of that.
The BVS by the Minute podcast account.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Oh, there it is.
My co-host Andrew Dice, and he was on the set of Suicide Squad for the set visit, of which he is not a part of anymore because it was the original one. And so if you see in there, so this stuff that he's saying is all stuff that he saw and like talked to them about, that he says like the many-eyed ones had a cooler backstory that got cut out of the movie. And he says, I don't want to get into the door's air was opening with the eyes of the adversary. So like the faceless eyeball bubble wrap henchman like actually had more going on that was plot relevant, not just
so
saving it all for David Ayer Suicide Squad by the minute. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got another podcast for me.
Well, I mean, you even get a lot more. I mean, I really appreciated Marv Wolfman tweeting a few weeks back because Marv Wolfman wrote the novelization for Suicide Squad, and he was even being told to make changes up to the last minute on the novelization. But even with the stuff that he didn't change, there was so much more context to June and Flag and Harley and Joker that you just got from the novel that thankfully he wasn't asked to cut out, because like when Ayer talks about how his script was a much more linear, traditional, cohesive story, you get that in the way that the narrative flows in Wolfman's novelization, which I will bet dollars to donuts is based on what Ayer's script was doing.
Well, yeah, even Ayer said that
chapter was
there
all
was a
June.
more fleshed out June and Flag love story. Like you get to see that even more.
Even the whole archaeological exploration.
That was the whole opening of the movie.
That's the whole
Yes.
You get all of that.
Yeah.
And another thing that bugged me about Suicide Squad, I mean, if you rewatch it again, just look at Joel. What's his last name?
Kinnaman.
His hair.
Harrington. I don't know why. Yeah. Look at his hair. His hair is from short to long, like jumps all over the place. And I'm like, what the fuck? You could just totally all the like reshot shit that he did because his hair was long and slicked back. And then, but through like the core of the fucking movie. It was short, like a military style haircut.
I'm wondering if that you Steven, you just talked about it, where Bruce Wayne says, my friends will do it for you. Is that something that a studio like Jeff Johns,
it's very
would say add that in, because it doesn't feel well, because it's like, what friends?
Highly possible that
you don't have friends right now.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't.
And he has friends.
And that,
But the one thing, Chris,
wasn't a thing of the DCU. That was like the end credit scene for that movie.
Yeah, that felt very much like a resuit insert. So the second I said that, I was like, oh, someone's gonna call me on that. But what I meant was that was the first thing that came to mind. But what I meant was the general, like, Superman is like the world without Superman kind of remember T-shirts, and here's a team that we need in case Superman goes bad, and like there's very much like content, like world building and context that bridges BVS. Like Justice League, I don't know, we're gonna get some more of that in the Snyder cut, but like Justice League, the theatrical at least, skips over all of that. Like, oh, Superman's gone, and like that's what Suicide Squad was about. Is here's what happens when Superman is gone, and the government's trying to figure out how to react to it, and there's not a hero to kind of.
We got a crazy chick with a baseball bat. Take that.
Yeah. And Chris, to your point though, even that end credit scene is in the, and I'm going to say it's in the right restaurant, because go back to the Comic-Con trailer, the restaurant that Waller is having her conversation with the representatives from like Argus and the military is in that restaurant. So the entire restaurant scene in the theatrical is a reshoot. Because
so weird.
Sorry.
So the end credit scene, it always stood out to me because I recognized that restaurant from the Comic-Con trailer, going, that's the right restaurant. Like that was originally there, or at least they bothered to use the right set and not the reshoot set, because I'm sure that one thing, this is speculation, this is nothing to know, but the speculation is the dossier, the way they did the dossiers was part of the reshoot to move that puppy along, because I remember in the Comic-Con trailer, Flag is supposed to be looking through the files while June's giving him a haircut.
Yeah.
So obviously that's when he looks at those files. And so you can just tell where scenes that, if we go back to the Comic-Con trailer, which was air cut all the way,
100%.
You can see, they repurposed that in this reshoot scene. So I think I would almost bet money that end credit scene is still there.
Well, and that could have been ADR too. I don't know if anyone's gone and taken a look at his lips to see how closely it lines up, but that's possible that, like, shut it down, or I'll go and do it for you or something. Me and my friends will do it for you. Because like who was Garza's recent not Rosetta Stone. What does he call his videos?
Periodic table.
Oh, yeah.
It's teaching a language called Garza.
The idea
Garza. Fucking, isn't that the learn to speak a different language shit?
It's a master list of, like, for translation of language, and so the reason I anyway,
I can
explain the thought process.
All right.
Periodic table is he called out a line from Batfleck that was ADR'd in the Superman Resurrection. Like he says, I think his lips move and say something like "Let's do it," and in the theatrical cut, it was like, "We have to try." It's hilarious. I'm looking at that. I'm like, they're like, we need a more hopeful tone. Yeah. So like, we have to try. Right. It's like more hopeful than like, let's do it is like too serious. Like they need
to get away from the air cup. Since we're talking about redubbing, I'm still wondering what Lois said to Superman.
Yes.
And it's not "you smell good." Right. It can't be "you smell good."
I know, but because it is a Snyder shot, because Cavill's face is good. And I was like, no, it's a Snyder shot. I remember I even went back and forth, and people were like, no, it's redub, it's got to be. And I'm like, but it is the Snyder shot. I'm like, I can't tell. And I've even zoomed in, and I'm like, you really can't tell if it's.
I thought, I don't know. I mean, I thought somebody kind of figured this out, but it was like you spoke.
You spoke because
that was
before. So that
because he wasn't taught. Yeah, he didn't say, "Do you bleed?" Surprisingly, that was not a Snyder line.
even Cavill
made me bleed.
That fucking line. He's all, "Do you bleed. He like really like emphasizes the bleed, and I'm like, what is going on?
Mouth going like
And they wanted to zoom in on that too. The CGI was so good. Let's zoom in on that.
The Corridor crew when they broke down Justice League's VFX.
Oh, yeah.
The big thing they talked about, and they talked about this on other videos also, where the crazy part about like the mouth is like you don't have muscles pulling your lips up and down. Like you don't have like there's not a muscle right here that pulls your lip up or a muscle here that pulls your lip down. It's all like pulling your mouth that way, and then your jaw opens your lips. And so they said it's hilarious with CGI because what they'll do is they'll just move the lips in the way you expect the lips to move instead of
The jaw.
Instead of it being where all the proper muscles are animating in the right way. And so like literally you have Cavill where like his lips, and that's part of what's weird about it is there's like an animation of muscles that like don't actually exist in his mouth.
Yeah, they were breaking it down too, and they were talking about how too smooth like his skin was too around, and it was just
the big tell for me is always the corners of his mouth are always too perfect.
Yeah,
because that's where the mustache is going to be the most obvious, right? Is right in the corners, and so you see it's just like his teeth fade to like complete shadow, and it's like a perfect point into the corner, and it's like it looks like it was like hand drawn on or something. It's so gross.
Gillette, the best a man can get. That's what
right.
it is.
You guys like being punched in the face too? Like I've seen Justice League once. I have no desire to ever see it.
No, it's just seared into my mind. I haven't.
I want to do a live watch.
a lot of
No, we're doing.
Yeah, you're doing that, right?
We're gonna do a riff track /
Yeah, that's gonna
Mystery
be a lot
Science
of
Theater
fun.
3000 commentary.
That's gonna be
I'm
a
ready for it.
That's gonna be
That'd be
so
awesome.
fun.
I mean, I have avoided watching it since November 17th. I finally opened up my Blu-ray and redeemed my digital code because my crew convinced me. He was like, no, let's watch it so you can finally tear it apart. I was like, yes, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
I can
It
see
doesn't
my
hurt
old
as much
review and tear it
anymore.
apart.
Yeah. You could just laugh at it now. It doesn't hurt. You can actually laugh and be like, we're getting something so much better.
Yeah.
Here. That's what's so great.
And that's the thing about, like, you guys talk about, like, when you watch the extended cut of Suicide Squad, I think the reason the extended cut has made my appreciation for that version of Suicide Squad kind of grow over the years is because when you watch the extended cut, all the extended scenes are pure air. Like that's pure what was going to be in the air cut, and I liked what those scenes did. You know, you talked about the Joker Harley scene. I mean, all of the Act 2 Harley talking to the crew, kind of like screwing with them, and them kind of starting to plan a mutiny before they kind of start to come together. Like all the longer bar scene, it let the movie breathe, because I remember saying in our first review that when I watched that movie for the first time, I just felt like my senses were being assaulted.
Well, people think that they were trying to make it more like Guardians of the Galaxy,
of course,
especially because of the pop music, and like that's possible. I'm sure that was an influence, but what they were really doing was changing it to be more like Deadpool, because Deadpool came out in February of
2016.
Yeah. And so of course you're going to get that response probably in the test screenings where people are like, I wish it was more like Deadpool. And so, okay, notes make it more like Deadpool. And so you look at the beginning and like you notice that especially there, and compared to like if you've seen any other Ayer movies, anything he's written or directed, they don't come out like guns blazing in that first act. Like Ayer's movies, it's a slow burn, big.
Yes.
Now that you
the introduction of all the characters. I mean, I still love that shot of like Deadshot and all the bullets flying and he's falling down.
No, it's awesome, but that's all in there for
Harley
purposes. It's not just for like the pop music and the pop. It's because literally it was just a story of these characters that kind of built and then they come together. And like you look at something like Fury is also another team that comes together. And you see how that opens and it's slow. Look at Ayer's each of the characters, and then by the time you get to that last scene, it's like a slow crescendo. And instead, they like started it off like Deadpool's opening. It's not the dossier cut, but you've got that similar like flashback, joke, song, like joke, song. Flashback. Where was I again? Like that's like the whole.
That's pretty much Suicide Squad theatrical.
It works. It works over there, but like I said, if you watch like Ayer's other movies, I mean, it's very character driven. Very character driven. I mean, he's even posted like retweets of people like, you got Harsh Times, you got End of Watch, and then his new movie, The Tax Collector. he likes to have like the two dynamic characters and like that, you got the white boy and then you got the like a Mexican guy, and it seems like that's like the dynamic that he always likes to put out there because
Training Day, which you wrote, is there with
Training Day.
Denzel and Ethan Hawke.
Opposite characters.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just like his writing. And when you watch like Suicide Squad, you could tell, I mean, it doesn't feel like it should be like an Ayer movie. And I'm really looking forward to it.
You think Ayer Cut's gonna be rated R?
I know
It's gotta be rated R.
It was always going to be PG-13. I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
to,
really?
To piggyback
But hypothetically, I
Chris,
mean, they've got I'm sure they've got like ad libs of like Leto dropping the F-bomb and stuff.
Yeah.
That they would normally just cut around. So I imagine they have the content they need, and then it's just a matter of like PG-13 is always in the editing anyway. So if they wanted it to be R, or if they didn't care about the rating, they could leave an F-bomb or two in there, or
They could CGI some blood splatter in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let the camera show a punch or a kick, make contact for once. Like,
yeah.
have you guys thought how tonally different is gonna be this one from James Gunn's Suicide Squad? I mean, he's using some of the same characters.
Yeah.
So how much of a contrast is there going to be between those two movies? Like, have you guys thought about that?
Yeah.
I mean, Gunn's movie is probably going to be like what they wanted the first Suicide Squad to be, but it'll be engineered that way from the ground up.
From the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be rated R. I think it's gonna be like Super. I mean,
Yeah,
to me, I feel like it's gonna be. Yeah,
I like Super. Super's a good
that's
movie.
And that's why people like were freaking out about those costumes. It's like that's kind of the point. I think this is the B Squad.
Watch Super.
These guys with these terrible costumes who are like wannabe super villains get eviscerated in the first mission, and then they bring in the real task force.
As a Kevin Feige.
Well, and I think, I know that both Ayer and
he changed his name.
He's changed his name.
Yeah.
Please change your handle. I mean,
you gotta change your avatar
profile. Yeah.
And both Ayer and Gunn have both called back to Ostrander and his run, and that's the thing, as Ayer really did do an Ostrander / New 52 Suicide Squad blend that I thought worked really well. And I remember Ostrander wrote a piece where he was like, I enjoyed it, but I can imagine Gunn's version going to be much more, like you said, much more the B Squad, much more the cannon fodder. Because let's be honest, that's what Suicide Squad is. It's deep black government bullcrap where they're supervillains. Who gives a shit?
It's possible.
That's what we want. Yeah.
Well, and also like the more of them you kill off, the more you get. Like there's Ratcatcher, and people are like, why are they bringing in these? It's because they're not going to get a solo movie. They're not going to be the villain in something else. Bring in as many random bullshit B Squad villains you can.
Like that first image.
Give me 100 Slipknots in this movie.
Yes. Look at that.
Yes.
That first image where everybody looks like they're in cosplay, and everybody's like, look at how dog shit this looks. I'm like, those guys are all gonna fucking die.
Well, and then look at the animated movies they did, like Jay Oliva doing Assault on Arkham, or when they did Hell to Pay. The beauty of those movies is they freaking killed everybody. And they died in the gruesome, horrible ways.
Yes.
You gotta live up to that title. Right. My God. But anyways, guys,
wrestling fans who are happy when John Cena dies.
See, there's that part too. But I think we're over 3 hours here, guys. I think we've tackled a lot. When it comes to next week's going to be pretty crazy. Next weekend is going to be absolutely crazy. I think for sure we're going to do a pre-Vodka stream. We're going to do a pre-show, and then Saturday and Sunday is going to be absolutely crazy. Justin, you're not going to be a part of it. I'm sorry. You have, you already established that you're not.
I have friends.
I have friends.
What's to me?
Okay.
I'm on the poster, so I feel like I'm kind of obligated to show up.
Scott. If you don't show up, you don't even know. The cancel hashtag I'm going to put on you. It's going to be pretty bad.
But you said is that like what time Eastern time? Like 6, 7, 8?
Something like that. I don't know. Like
6:30 is when the post. Basically, whenever Zach's panel ends, which is like whenever. And like we're gonna be sitting on go for like.
Let's put it this way. Ideally, it starts on Sunday. Right? Ideally, it's like however long. There's like
Eastern time.
Yeah, let's like stretch like how ideally Zach's panel is like.
I just want to starts.
Yeah. Tune in on clicking on your phone. See what's up. See what happens. I'm going to send an invite to the man himself just to see. He's expressed interest. We'll see what happens. But
at 5:30. I don't even know if I can make Zack Snyder's panel, but we'll see.
Oh, cancel your
do that thing. Do that bad rom-com thing where you've got like one earbud laced up through your. And you're like, damn it, and they're like, what? And you're like, nothing. I'm just. It's so good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. And I know, Nick, you hit me up. You wanted to like join, but we're gonna wrap this up right now. But next weekend's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we're all gonna have a good time with that and everything. But this is gonna be a very dangerous part of this whole thing. But hey, let's go around the room and plug yourself.
I'm ready.
Everybody ready for the drinks? Justin, you're the featured guest tonight. Appreciate you showing off your book and everything like that, and feel free to talk about all that and talk about your podcast.
Okay, so my podcast is Welcome to the Midside. We talk about news, we talk about movies. You can go to themidside.com or themidside.com/podcast for that. My book, which we talked about, based on a true story. It's not what actually happened, but it's an exaggerated fictionalized version of what happened on the production of the movie Alliance, quote unquote. You can read more about that. You can read the blurb on the back of the book at themidside.com or themidside.com/thecut. And there'll be more news coming soon about where exactly to buy that. And that'll be at themidside.com/thecut. But I'm still in the beta reading phase right now.
Yeah, Steven. Hurry up.
When are you going to get through that?
Yeah, I know. Wait, I'm supposed to wait.
What are you waiting for?
He got the pointing right on the first try, too.
I know. Yeah, point that out. Thank you, Stephen.
All right, go ahead, Steven. Plug yourself.
Yeah, you can find me. My Twitter handle is in my name there. I also co-host BVS by the Minute with Andrew Dice. We just finished The Nightmare and are getting into some less exciting stuff, but it's getting but it's still
find a way to talk about for 40 minutes.
Yeah, every episode like, this is going to be huge, and then it's like, oh no, wow, there's actually a lot to talk about there. So that's exciting. And then otherwise, you can find me at Screen Rant, and technically Justice League by the Minute exists also. Check that out, but it's just episode 0 right now, so just keep an eye on that for stuff to come.
All right, Mr. Scott McClellan, plug yourself.
Thank you for accepting me in late, but yes, I am Scott McClellan. You can find me at ScottDC27. You can find my show at DC Film Squadcast on Twitter. You can find the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com.
There you go. Mr. Matt, Comic Movie Marks.
Are you gonna fall over?
No, I'm perfectly fine for this.
I know.
After last week, I got to wait a year before I drink again. Now that fucking killed me. But I am Matt from the world famous Comic Movie Marks. Not really world famous at all. Barely even locally famous. Actually, not famous really at all. And
you're known in our hearts, Matt.
Yeah, we do a cool little channel. Come check us out on YouTube, Comic Movie Marks.
There you go, Mr. Ben Everts.
And me, you can find me on Mr._Everts on Twitter and The Real Anarchy on YouTube. And also this week you can start, you'll find us on iTunes, Podbean, and Spotify.
Nice, man. And last but certainly not least,
the butt of the crew.
Last week I was the penis.
Oh yeah,
you're the penis.
Just because my kid just tripped over the.
Who's on top and who's on bottom now? Who's on top and who's on bottom now?
I know. Yeah, seriously.
Because of the hot dog.
I was mad that that called me out last week. Oh, you're the penis this week.
I said you were the dick of the stream.
No, he's the hot dog. He's the hot dog, guys. He's the hot dog.
The hot dogs, Cuss Wong, whatever, pineapple pizza. I don't give a fuck. But Chris Wong Swenson over at Ping Pong Flicks.
Yeah.
There we go.
And Nexus Pong on Twitter.
There you go. All right. Well, make sure you subscribe to the Film Junkee channel on YouTube. And all that stuff. Everything's provided down below for all my stuff. Patreon shirts. You want a shirt like this? It's down below. And yeah, it's
Make
gonna
sure.
be it's all it's gonna be craziness next week. And I appreciate everybody on the panel showing up. Thank you, Justin, Steven, Ben, Matt, Scott, and Chris. All right, guys, we will talk to you later.